to court, saying to the courts that in case, peradventure, if the court decides for the election to be rerun, they don't want the electoral commissions to still be at the helm of affairs, which is difficult because to vet in a new electoral commission is a long process. So I don't know how that's going to happen. Elections are won at the polling stations. Any idiot can go to court. Absolutely, Joyce. Elections are won at the polling stations. It's true. It is true. Well, so we've been told in Ghana. Elections are won at the polling stations. Funny you mentioned that, Joyce. Yesterday I did I joined Julius on his show, right? And I mentioned the same thing. That is interesting. I don't understand why the presiding officer, which is the electoral commissioner, his declaration of the results has to be contested because at the end of the day, he's just announcing what has been collated and sent to him. Okay, but here we are. But the most interesting part is the deputy chair person of the electoral commission herself came out and spoke against how the electoral commission went about collating the numbers and to declaring who had won the elections. And I think this is what makes the difference. Usually, it's the opposition party that is out in full force claiming that there have been irregularities that had a massive impact or effect on their election results. So the fact that electoral commission had come out, the deputy electoral commissioner had come out to voice her opinion on the way that the Kenyan Electoral Commission conducted the elections or counting of ballots is interesting. It makes this even more dicier. And to follow up, and just to let people know that she has not been paid or not anyone, she has not been influenced by anybody to come up with her statement. She said she put her a pay slip saying that look, this is how much I earn. She earns about nearly, I think, over £7,000 a month in her position as a deputy chairwoman of the Electoral Commission of Kenya, and said this is how much I'm earning. This has nothing to do with anybody paying me or somebody influencing my decision. But as a Kenyan, she's just sick and tired of things not being done properly. And he wants a better Kenya, a peaceful Kenya. And that's why she said what she had to say. Joyce is saying maybe the deputy is a member of the opposition. We know how this works in Africa. It's interesting. It's interesting, Joyce. Let's see what the Supreme Court says about this. And of course, we have Julius Belito to give us information to talk to him about this. Obviously, Julius is a Kenyan journalist and also a broadcaster. And also Angola, experts observe missions ready for the general election. So elections will be taking place in Angola. Plus, Nigeria gang leader accepts truce. In DRC, UN peacekeeping force Monusco leaves Butembo, leaves Butembo base after losing public support. Look, when it comes to UN peacekeeping, we've seen so many times. I mean, many have argued is the UN when it comes to peacekeeping that effective? And I'm sure everybody will quickly turn their eyes and look at Rwanda, what happened in Rwanda. Nevertheless, if you look at countries like Sierra Leone, they have they did well. Maybe the deputy, what's Joyce saying? Joyce is saying Raila is old and must retire. Not everyone can be president. But I mean, I agree. Look, I mean, when he decided, this is his fifth time, Joyce. This is Raila Odinga, his fifth time wanting to become president. And the outgoing president, Uhuru Kenyatta, who was a staunch rival to Raila Odinga, actually supported Raila Odinga's campaign at this year's election. And to put more twist, okay, is that the newly elected president, William Ruto, used to work with Raila Odinga and then became the deputy president to Uhuru Kenyatta. So you see how things are? That's what we keep saying. Politics, there's no point following politicians, because at the end of the day, they are all in the same circle. Okay, so that's the this is what we'll be talking about today. But I want to hear your opinion on this, right? I'm asking, is poverty a choice? And the reason why I'm asking this question is because, according to the executive chairman of the Tobinco Group of Companies, who goes by the name Dr. Samuel Amo Tobin, thinks that poverty is actually a choice. I'll give you more information on that very, very soon. I wonder how poverty can be a choice. I don't know who in their right mind would love to just sit there and live in poverty. But that's what he's saying. I mean, he gives, we need to put more flesh to the bone. We need to put it into more context. So I will give you the information very, very soon. I totally disagree, by the way, and I'll let you know my position on this. But as always, I welcome your views. You can call in 0203-735-8820 or 0203-286-0185. Alternatively, you can send a text message or call the mobile line on 0778-793-9958. I know people that are watching on Facebook, all the information is on there. So let's hear your your views on what we're discussing today. It's interesting. I keep saying this, right? This show is not just a monologue. I just don't sit here and talk, 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 talk. I mean, I can sit and just talk. Okay, I enjoy talking. I think more about discussion than just talking for the sake of talking, right? But it's a dialogue, and that's what I want us to do. Okay, let's look at the newspaper headlines here in England. The Sun, gunned down at bedtime and left to die. Photograph of 9-year-old Olivia Pratt Corbell features of the front pages of Wednesday's newspaper after she was shot dead at her home in Liverpool. Gunned down at bedtime and left to die. The headline says the Sun, as it reports, Olivia was killed by a gunman who chased the man into her house. Um, the paper also notes that the killing comes in on the 15th anniversary of the murder of 11-year-old Reese Jones in the city. Um, you know, I mean, this story is dominating, and it probably would dominate a lot of the newspapers. It is here. The Metro also has it on the front page saying that tell us who killed little Olivia. And it is a sad, sad situation. The fact that a 9-year-old, an innocent girl at that, has been murdered um, by who we don't know. So now the police are actually appealing to criminals, to the criminals, okay, to name the perpetrator. And you know, yes, we're all for justice. We're all for justice. But as interesting, I was speaking to another journalist friend, and in as much as we all want the perpetrator to be arrested, and whoever's involved in the killing of this little girl, um, you know, it raises the question. Okay, it raises the question. Unless we couldn't pinpoint. But again, some are arguing. It was also on social media. With the level of coverage, would this happen if it was somebody of color? That's all I keep saying. We pray that they find the perpetrators, and hopefully the family can get peace and be able to grieve properly, because nobody deserves to die, especially not a 9-year-old girl. The Daily Express, just a child, innocent victim of gun wars. The Daily Express also leads with this story. And the I as well, youngest victim of gangland killings. The Mirror as well, Olivia 9 shot dead as gunman chased his target into her home. Unbearable, says the Daily Mirror. All right, let's see what the Daily Mail says. Picture of innocence to shame lawless Britain. And that is the Daily Mail. The UK is not safe under the Tories. 20,000 police cuts are still not being replaced by the government, who made a campaign promise. I agree with you, Joyce. I agree. But that's politicians for you, isn't it? Especially Boris Johnson and his his ministers. The Daily Telegraph. Before I get accused of bashing Boris Johnson, listen, I actually voted for Boris Johnson as mayor of London. All right, not as a prime minister, but I voted for him as mayor of London. I think he's an interesting character. Boris Johnson, I think Boris Johnson and Donald Trump. Well, I would like to think Boris Johnson is a bit more clued up than Donald Trump. Okay, simply because he's been in the game for so long as a politician. I mean, whether um his whether everything he's done has been based on fabrication, who knows? But I would like to give him a bit more props than Donald Trump. Hmm. Let's look at the Financial Times. The chief executive of Scottish Power, one of the biggest energy suppliers, has told ministers more than 100 billion over 2 years is needed for a rescue plan to protect households from rising bills. The Financial Times reports. Keith Anderson reportedly met the business secretary, Kwesi Kwarteng, last week and suggested capping household energy at around £2,000. I mean, Kwesi Kwarteng, he's the guy, okay, that came, was asked about the living, the high cost of living prices, and he essentially just said, "Well, we have to wait till whoever gets elected, Liz Truss, comes into number 10 Downing Street." The Guardian also has a picture of Olivia on the front page. There are calls for a windfall tax on grain traders who are enjoying gained profits amid soaring food prices. The Times. The Times leads on an inquiry into the culture of the Red Arrows, the RAF's aerial display team. And whilst we're on that, with on RAFs, let me just put this across to you. Are you a problem solver or a good listener? Do you play in defense or take the lead? Are you a multitasker or a people's person? Everyone has that one thing they were born to do. Find yours with a career in RAF. What you will gain by joining the RAF, you gain confidence, belief, and resilience as you achieve things you never thought were possible. Learn new skills, work with cutting edge technology, and travel the world. Form unique bonds with new lifelong friends who share your ambition. You are given a chance to pursue your personal passions as part of your career. In the RAF, you have the space to be yourself and have plenty of time to see friends, family, and live your own life. There is no ordinary job in the RAF. Find your force now by searching RAF recruitment. So make sure you do so. Joyce is saying Boris Johnson was the best London mayor, but the worst PM, Prime Minister. I think I agree with you on that one, Joyce. Most definitely. And finally, the Daily Star. Yes, yes, yes. And the Daily Star reports on research on the benefits of sex. Okay. The study shows it can be important for your health as quitting smoking or cutting down on booze, according to the paper. Okay, so there you go. Yeah. Sex can be beneficial to your health. That's according to the Daily Star. That's the newspaper headlines here in England. We're going to take a quick break and we come back. We turn our attentions to the continent of Africa. There's loads to discuss. Don't go nowhere. There's many, many things to bring to you this morning. Let me remind you, okay, we're streaming live on Facebook. I know I'm streaming myself, but we're also streaming live on Facebook. The handle is GN Radio UK. You can follow us across all social media platforms. We're streaming live on Facebook and also on YouTube. So do follow us. And later on in this show, I'll be speaking to a young Ghanaian. He was born in Kumasi and now lives in North London. The reason why I'll be speaking to him is because he has been honored with the Diana Awards for being an outstanding hero for his contribution to mental health advocacy and youth development. So stay tuned. I'll be speaking to Kwame very, very soon. Ghanaians are doing really well in this country. A lot of the times we concentrate too much on the negative things, and of course, the negativity sells. Okay, Everybody wants to know what is going on. This is GN Radio Morning Breakfast Show with myself, Jones. Taking a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk more. We'll be back right after these short commercials.
Become a successful entrepreneur with Jackie and her professional team. Become a successful entrepreneur. Anase Base. Wami a team of professional teachers of economics, marketing. Ninga omoyebi. So pesa will transform your life from a youth graduate and a school leaver. Nasa pesa wo ye entrepreneur. Mon contacti Base. Entrepreneur no che say obia ebia wa wo business. Ebia wo ye che. But pesa wo ye no in a professional way. To say Oprah Winfrey. Anaya papa Kwame Despite. Base bit me ama sa diano abim. One your experts coaching and a mentoring. And as person will start our business base for bet show how we expand your business and as existing customer base. Base provides support in business plans, step-by-step finance applications, and marketing strategies. Base or become a successful entrepreneur also provide entrepreneurship skills through vision and determination. Some more per free consultation for a base
073 99867 417. I repeat 073 99867 417.
And also one email address info@becomeasuccess.co.uk. Website www.becomeasuccess.co.uk. Mokohwa mobetimi make bookings for an appointment. Base and I said become a successful entrepreneur. Let's turn your vision into a reality. Become a successful entrepreneur with Jackie and her professional team. Become a successful entrepreneur. Anase Base. Wami a team of professional teachers of economics, marketing. Ninga omoyebi. So pesa will transform your life from a youth graduate and a school leaver. Nasa pesa wo ye entrepreneur. Mon contacti Base. Entrepreneur no che say obia ebia wa wo business. Ebia wo ye che. But pesa wo ye no in a professional way. To say Oprah Winfrey. Anaya papa Kwame Despite. Base bit me ama sa diano abim. One your experts coaching and a mentoring. And as person will start our business base for bet show how expand your business and as existing customer base. Base provides support in business plans, step-by-step finance applications, and marketing strategies. Base or become a successful entrepreneur also provide entrepreneurship skills through vision and determination. Some more per free consultation for a base
073 99867 417. I repeat 073 99867 417.
And also one more email address info@becomeasuccess.co.uk. Website www.becomeasuccess.co.uk. Mokohwa mobetimi make bookings for an appointment. Base and I said become a successful entrepreneur. Let's turn your vision into a reality.
Akosua na mutini seni akoda ya de sese de sa jinsemu ebusua ese de amepa no uyonku da si wono busane mame hwe ya sorry prekupe na fa akora no kona kwagina yaresa adan wo wura fise ebisa wo yi efritwa kunkum ana samwa nwoma edi kan etredu no nwotwe dichemu nwotwe no eho na bra na so wo ne flipan fo ekokon okọ oba bia no aben ewo humu emode to nanim se okokon na obewu asante kotokose se wote wotwo a ehimu enu nti sorry prekupe na tutumirika na fa akora no kwagina yarehwe esanse anoma wo ho ye monopo maame koso hwe waboa nipa pii ɔno ma ɛte sɛ yi mu ɔpeme ɔkɔ n'akyi na wasan ababiem sɛ deɛ ɔnnam posene kane no wonim sɛ ɔbaa bi akyɛ adwaeɛ a na osiesie no ho honhom mu yadeɛ te sɛ ɔbɛidi honhom mu attack adayeso basabasa kɔdanna abrabɔ no si ne trase ayamhyehyɛ wo hyehyɛ a na adwira gu abrabɔ mu adesoa biada wo ba abrokyire ha yi yɛasanto apɛn so nanso wo nko a wosia na abu wo hyehyɛ a na adwiri wobɔ pa na ɛsane sikato wo nsɛm a na ahye kae ne ho sɛ obiara ne wo a watumi atu mirika ɛsan ɔtwe ho da ma wo ho ɛnyɛ hare na wo deɛ na ankɔyɛ sɛ aborɔdwoma a wɔforo boɔ wieyɛ na afei ɔbɛka sɛ wɔno no ho wɔno yadeɛ dɔkotafoɔ ɛntumi ansa no ɛno mpo ɛna ɔyɛ ho adwuma frɛ maame kɔ so hwɛ wɔ ahoma yi so 0790846991 0790846991 ana 0740580734 0740580734 maame kɔ so hwɛ ana yɛtwere no a yɛtwere botantim
The world as we know it has changed, and so have the issues affecting our community.
COVID-19 and the geopolitical tensions have really made it abundantly clear that the African continent has to do more to be self-sufficient from an industrial capacity point of view.
Join me, John Sewa, on GN Breakfast Show as we look at issues affecting us here in the UK, with a close eye on trending stories across the world.
When we invest from the UK into infrastructure in African countries, that it is absolutely transparent.
With a focus on Ghana's social and political issues.
I mean, it's not about you thinking about, your money, the Sikadiya Basa. It's not what our authorities should be thinking about, or officials, but rather they should think about the nation.
The Breakfast Show with John Sewa.
Monday to Wednesday from 8 a.m. on GN Radio.
Yo, Ghana for you what English approach my muha. Ya sweady. Yenya emrenim fo a won akwadare wo emrenim a poto kasa mu ye kasa a lawyer fo entimi nuanom mumyem fo ye immigration ensem nyina enko dan wo mo Fortwell solicitors emrenim akuku drofo se watena ha che ombeboa wo ma wonsa ka won krata na se wedi edro nso a eyo mo kokokra eba ne nipa setena mu eni adwuma mu nsem bia omudim akotene pa omo wo mre di mani pa bia na de enika wo mu mpo ne se no consultation fee.
Fortwell Solicitors always puts our clients' needs first. We specialize in all UK visa applications, detention and deportation cases, student and work points-based work permit applications from both UK and abroad. Fortwell Solicitors also deals with long residence and human rights applications outside the immigration rules. Don't wait till last minute. Fortwell Solicitors is located at
Unit 1, ground floor, Katrina House, 58 Clarendon Road, London, N80DJ. Nearest tube station, Tempark Lane and Wood Green. Overground, Hornsey Station. Buses, 41 to Archway and 144 to Maswa Hill. For more info, call 0203 3257 030. Call our 24-hour line on 0754 8701 011. Website www.fortwellsolicitors.com.
Opening hours Monday to Friday 9:30 to 5:30 p.m.
Thursday Beyonce Young Milton Keynes.
Fortwell Solicitors is regulated by SRA.
Fortwell Solicitors.
Become a successful entrepreneur with Jackie and her professional team. Become a successful entrepreneur. Anase Base. Wami a team of professional teachers of economics, marketing, ninga omoyebi. So we person will transform our life from a youth graduate and a school leaver. Na so person will ye entrepreneur. Mon contact Base. Entrepreneur no chere say obi a ebia wa wo business. Ebia we ye che. But we person we no in a professional way. To say Oprah Winfrey. Anaya papa. Kwame Despite. Base. Bet mama sa Diano Abim. One your experts ewo coaching and a mentoring. And as we person will start to our business base for bet show how we see expand your business and as existing customer base. Base provides support in business plans, step-by-step finance applications, and marketing strategies. Base or become a successful entrepreneur also provide entrepreneurship skills through vision and determination. Some more free consultation for a base ewo
073 99 867 417. I repeat, 073 99 867 417.
And also our email address info@becomeasuccess.co.uk. Website www.becomeasuccess.co.uk. Mokohwa mobetimi make bookings for an appointment. Base and I said become a successful entrepreneur. Let's turn your vision into a reality.
Welcome back to the show. This is GN Radio Morning Breakfast Show with myself, Jones. We're streaming live on Facebook and also on YouTube. So, if that's the place that you like to go and get your information, then we are on there. We've got you covered. We're streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. So if you don't want to listen on TuneIn and you want to see the face behind his voice, then do so. Okay. Now, before we move on, again, let me bring to your attention. Are you a problem solver or a good listener? Do you play in defense or take the lead? Are you a multitasker or a people's person? Everyone has that one thing they were born to do. Find yours with a career in the RAF. Gain confidence, belief, and resilience as you achieve things you never thought were possible. Learn new skills, work with cutting-edge technology, and travel the world. Form unique bonds with new lifelong friends who share your ambition. You are given the chance to pursue your personal passions as part of your career. In the RAF, you have the space to be yourself and have plenty of time to see friends, family, and live your own life. There is no ordinary job in the RAF. Find your force now by searching RAF recruitment. So make sure you do so, okay? Search RAF recruitment and join the RAF. Loads of opportunities out there in the RAF. And once again, I just want to bring to your attention again that if you look across the Sky platform, okay, there isn't that many Afro-Caribbean channels anymore. I wonder why that is. But, don't lose hope. There's still one particular channel called Channel 7, which still cater for our needs, brings contents that you and I can relate to. You can watch Channel 7 on Sky Channel 182. You can download the Channel 7 app. You can also download Vision TV. You can get Channel 7 on Vision TV app. It's also on Freeviews, Freeview 264. Plus, follow Channel 7 across all social media platforms. And the handle is at My Channel 7. All right, now let's turn back to stories trending across the continent of Africa. And this morning, we're asking, is poverty a choice? Now, according to the executive chairman of the Tobinco Group of Companies, Dr. Amo Tobin, he stated that being poor is a choice. and not predetermined by some circumstances. He said this whilst he was speaking at the 2022 Wisdom Summit. Okay, he went on to suggest that most people are poor because they underrate themselves. He therefore urged Ghanaians to have the self belief that they can achieve anything they want in life, so far as they have the determination and zeal, as well as put in the necessary effort to achieve their dreams. And I quote him. He says, God has given wealth to everybody. So it's not something we have to struggle to get. But one very important thing is that you do not undermine yourself. Do not underrate yourself. Have the belief that that what someone has achieved, you can also achieve. He went on to say that there is no difference between a poor person and a rich person. A rich man chooses to be rich, and a poor man also chooses to be poor. So being poor is not a result of certain consequences. He added that the path to heaven health is determined by the person in question. There is no difference between myself and any of you here. And I mean, I understand where he's coming from, his position. Okay, I understand his position. But at the same time, I totally disagree with his position. Um, I don't think poverty is a choice. I seriously, I mean, in one breath, you can argue that it's a choice, and on the other hand, it's not a choice. Okay, poverty. The only way poverty can be a choice is if there is a conducive environment. Okay, where many people have access to one education, to have access to um, um, for employment. There are some practical ways to get to usher people into employment. Um, you know, people have access to a lot of things. Okay, and obviously, when we talk about poverty, I'm not just talking about the financial side of poverty. It's a broad spectrum, and probably he has just generalized it. And I think we also need to take into consideration where he was at and the type of people he was talking to. Nevertheless, the notion that poverty is a choice, I totally disagree. If I just continue with some of the things I have mentioned here, right? You understand my position. Nobody wants to live in poverty. Nobody wants to be poor, unless I'm mistaken. Name me one person that you've come across that enjoys living in poverty or would like to live in poverty. I'm yet to come across such a person. And usually, when folks who are in privileged positions make such assumption, um, I can't help but just feel like here we go again, looking down the noses at poor people, saying that it's your fault that you're poor. If you just tune in, I'm just about to begin my rant. Okay, I've got like 4 minutes, just 4 minutes, until we go on a break, and then we look at other stories as well, and then I'll read some of your messages that have come through. So just bear with me, okay? Just bear with me. I'm talking about the fact that, according to the executive chairman of the Tobinco Group of Companies, Dr. Samuel Amo, as he's saying that poverty is a choice. Poverty is a choice. And this is not the first time, such comments have been made, and there is an ongoing debate about poverty. I think the first question one must ask is, were you asked to be born? And if the answer is no, then we're on the same track. Secondly, where you're born has a massive effect on your life expectancy, job opportunities, and access to a lot of things: access to education, access to capital, access to many, many things that will help an individual to grow and become somebody better in this, new age, this modern age of technology. So when somebody like Mr. Dr. Samuel Amo Tobin thinks that there's no difference between him and the ordinary poor person, I have an issue with it, because you tend to realize that it's the same, that whole capitalist thinking. I'll go even to the extent of this whole neoliberalist thinking that if you're poor, it's your fault, nobody else. Let me just bring this to your attention, by the way. So the Tobinco Group, of companies, if you're wondering what it is, these are pharmaceutical companies in Ghana. And of course, pharmaceutical companies are all about profits. In as much as they make medicines and distribute medicines, it's a profit business. Okay, at the end of the day, it's a profit business. So these people, when they talk, their mindset is different. They are out of touch with reality. I mean, how can you live in Ghana and say that poverty is a choice, and then you have kids who are still learning under trees? Kids are going to school under trees. Kids are studying under trees. So my question to Mr. Dr. Samuel Amo Tobin is, the kids that are studying under trees, it's their choice then, isn't it? Or is their parents' choice for their kids to study under trees, isn't it? So you can sit in the comfort of your air-conditioned office and just make ridiculous, unfounded statements. And these are the people that we're told to respect and to say that if he's achieved it, I can achieve it. He's a whole CEO or executive chief officer. Okay? So, by his assertion, the children studying under trees can also become a chief executive officer of a massive pharmaceutical company. Come on. Come on, Fit. We're not stupid. We're not stupid. Taking a quick break. When we come back, we will talk more. And I'll read your messages. We'll be back right after this.
The world as we know it has changed, and so have the issues affecting our community.
COVID-19 and the geopolitical tensions have really made it abundantly clear that the African continent has to do more to be self-sufficient from an industrial capacity point of view.
Join me, John Sewa, on G and Breakfast Show as we look at issues affecting us here in the UK with a close eye on trending stories across the world.
When we invest from the UK into infrastructure in African countries, that it is absolutely transparent.
With a focus on Ghana's social and political issues.
I mean, it's not about you thinking about, your money, the Sikedia side. It's not what our authorities should be thinking about, or officials, but rather they should think about the nation.
The Breakfast Show with John Sewa.
Monday to Wednesday from 8 a.m. on GN Radio.
Yo, Ghana for you want English approach my muha. Ya sweady. Yenya emranimfo a wen akwadare wo emranimu a poto kasa mu ye kasa a lawyer for entimi nuanom mumiyemfo ye immigration ensem nyina enko dan wo mo fortwell solicitors emranimu akukudro for se watna ha che ombeboa wo ma wonsa ka won krata na se wedi edro nso a eyo mo kokokra eba ne nipa asetena mu eni adwuma mu nsem bia omudim akotene pa omo wo mre di mani pa bia na de enika wo mu poni se no consultation fee.
Fortwell Solicitors always puts our clients' needs first. We specialize in all UK visa applications, detention and deportation cases, student and work points-based work permit applications from both UK and abroad. Fortwell Solicitors also deals with long residence and human rights applications outside the immigration rules. Don't wait till last minute. Fortwell Solicitors is located at
Unit 1, ground floor, Katrina House, 58 Clarendon Road, London, N80DJ. Nearest tube station, Tempark Lane and Wood Green. Overground, Hornsey Station. Buses, 41 to Archway and 144 to Maswa Hill. For more info, call 0203 3257 030. Call our 24-hour line on 0754 8701 011. Website www.fortwellsolicitors.com.
opening hours Monday to Friday 9:30 to 5:30 p.m.
Thursday Beyonce Young Milton Keynes.
Fortwell Solicitors is regulated by SRA.
Fortwell Solicitors.
Abusiafo yɛde dwumadie foforɔ ɛbrɛ mu wɔ GN Radio. Your friend of worship and inspiration every Sunday evening between the hours of 7 and 9 p.m. Daniel Kweku Datson and Amanda Ofori at this Ajumedie Airbro. Make sure that you tune in. It's going to be an awesome moment of worship, God's word, conversation, gospel celebrity interviews, Bible knowledge, and what have you. And also your comments. I want to hear from you, your testimonies, what inspires you, and a lot more. Make sure say on miss our program every Sunday evening at GN Radio. Worship and inspiration. Your weekly inspiration starts from here.
All right, welcome back to this show. This is GN Radio Morning Breakfast Show with myself, Jones Awa. We're here till 11 o'clock this morning. Later on in the show, we'll be joined by Nana, a young Ghanaian who has been honored with the Diana Awards. We'll be speaking to him on what he's been doing in the community and, as a Ghanaian in the diaspora. So do stay tuned. Look, I know that the economic challenges have really, really affected all of us in one shape or form. Okay, and I also know that due to the pandemic, a lot of people lost their jobs. However, there is an opportunity. And I just want you to ask yourself these questions. Are you a problem solver or a good listener? Do you play in defense or take the lead? Are you a multitasker or a people person? Everyone has that one thing they were born to do. Find yours with a career in the Royal Air Force. If you join the Royal Air Force, the RAF, you gain confidence, belief and resilience as you achieve things you never thought you were possible. Learn new skills, work with cutting-edge technology, and travel the world. Form unique bonds with new lifelong friends who share your ambition. You are given the chance to pursue your personal passions as part of your career. And in the RAF, you have the space to be yourself and have plenty of time to see friends, family, and live your own life. And finally, there is no ordinary job in the RAF. Find your force now by searching RAF recruitment. Okay, so get in touch with the RAF. Okay, just go online and search RAF recruitment. All right, now let's turn our attentions to stories trending across the continent. Earlier, before we went on a break, I was sharing my opinion of the fact that poverty is a choice. I'm still struggling to find an individual who would like to live in poverty. I'm still struggling. I'm still struggling to find that individual. And so a lot of the times when I come across these motivational speeches on social media, I literally kiss my teeth, all right? Because it's easy to sit at the top and start talking about, oh, don't give up and don't do this and don't do that and don't do this and don't do that. It's easy to sit at the top and talk nonsense, to be honest with you. I'll put it at that. I totally disagree with the executive chairman of the Tobinco Group of Companies, suggesting that poverty is a choice. There's no difference between the rich man and the poor man. The rich man decided to be rich, wanted to be rich, and the poor man just wants to be poor. Okay. I guess there's no issue with fair distribution involved. Gosh. I mean, what this guy is trying to convey here is that we're all born equal. And then there are a lot of options for everybody. And if you fail to take that opportunity to better yourself and your family, then nobody can be blamed but you. That's what he's essentially saying. That's exactly what he is saying. All right, let's bring you other stories as well. And I'm sure if you've been following this show, I think since the beginning of August or even in July, we were following the Kenyan election. Now, fast forward post elections, the opposition leader Raila Odinga didn't like the way things were done, and according to him, they have evidence of the level of irregularities that took place during the elections, and as such, have petitioned the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has 14 days to sit on the case and come up with a decision. And whatever decision that they come up with, I think we will know. And perhaps, and I always say this with a disclaimer, whatever it is I'm saying is not to prejudice the outcome of the petition at the Supreme Court of Kenya, but we're looking at scenarios which may unfold. One could be the results may be upheld. Secondly, there could be a rerun of the election. Or they could say that they have sufficient evidence, and based on that evidence, Mr. Ruto, you didn't win the election. Mr. Raila didn't get it. Who knows? It's up to the Supreme Court to decide. But what's interesting is the fact that the chairwoman of the Electoral Commission, the deputy chairwoman, I should say, the commissioner himself, I think his name is Chikibuti, his name is, just before he was about to declare the election results, the deputy chairwoman came out and spoke and detached herself and some of the members of the electoral commission. They detached themselves from the announcement or the declaration of the results, calling it opaque. And of course, opposition to felt that there were many irregularities that had an impact on their numbers. So they're taking the case to court. But this is what I find so interesting. Usually it's just the opposition that's screaming and shouting and say, hey, corruption, irregularities, fraud, you name it. They're the ones that always, whoever loses elections in Africa, okay, across Africa, they always say they've been hard done by. But here we are, the electoral body itself is split. The electoral body itself, it's split to the point where the deputy electoral commissioner will come out and give such a statement. And secondly, the deputy electoral commissioner happens to be a woman. Let me make that statement again. The deputy electoral commissioner, the chairperson, happens to be a woman. Now, I spoke to Julius yesterday, and she has come out because, again, some accusations that, she's being pushed to take such a position. She said, look, this is my salary. I get paid nearly 10 grand a month. I think it's just over 7 grand. UK pounds, by the way. A month as a deputy chair. No one can influence me. I just want to see Kenya moving forward. And to me, such people need to be commended. If across the country, across the continent of Africa, we had people with such zeal and boldness, dignified people who just want to do the right things as opposed to turning their back and letting things slide, we will be okay. We would be okay. Julius will be joining us very, very soon to talk about this because I find it so interesting. I don't think this has ever happened anywhere where the electoral commissioner is actually the deputy has come out to speak on this. Interesting times ahead in Kenya. Keep your thoughts and comments coming in. I promise you, I will read your comments. All right, I will read them. I've seen a lot of messages have popped up here on the screen. I will read them. Okay, I will read them. So keep them coming in. Keep them coming in. If you want to call in, the number you need is 0203-735-8820. That's the number you need. I mean, you can also call on the mobile line as well, okay? Or send a text message to the mobile line. The mobile number is 0778-793-9958. 0778-793-9958. Good morning to everyone that's tuning in this morning. I understand some people are listening to us all the way from Ghana, the US, Canada, Germany, and of course here in the UK. Okay, so thank you. Keep listening and keep sending in your messages. Okay, as we bring you up to date what's happening across the world with the main focus on issues affecting us here in the UK and also across the continent of Africa. So according to reports, a Kenyan election official who was in charge of a constituency in the just ended elections collapsed and died on Monday. Jeffrey Gutubu was the electoral body officer in Nanyuki town in central Kenya when he collapsed and was pronounced dead at hospital near the office. He was in charge of the elections in Gichungu constituency, Kirianga country in the center of Kenya. Mr. Jitubu had not complained of any illness and was in Nyankuti to visit his family over the weekend before heading to the office on Monday. According to the country's returning officer, Jen Jitonga, the deceased was supposed to report back to his base. The official's death comes day after another officer in charge of the constituency in the capital, Nairobi, was tortured and murdered after disappearing from tallying center. The Electoral Commission's chairperson, Wafula Chibukati, had earlier said officers were being intimidated and threatened over the 9th August general election. Well, we will keep a close eye on that and give you more information as and when we get it. But for now, let's speak to Julius Beluto, a journalist and broadcaster, also editor and publisher of the Informer East Africa. He also has a show on Colorful Radio, okay, which airs every Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. Make sure you tune in because this week I'm on there with Julius. Julius, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you. So we understand that Raila Odinga has petitioned the court. The court has 14 days to come up with a ruling and make a decision on the disputed 2022 election. So right now, where are we as we speak, Julius?
Jonas, there's no time to be wasted. Time is of the essence, and we see the court kicking off with the process. Very keen, of course, before the petition was launched, each group, the Ruto's camp, Ruto is a president-elect, and also Raila Odinga's camp. They had already lined up powerful lawyers with many, many years of experience to clash at the Supreme Court and see who is going to win the battle of words, the battle of, our learned friends, they call themselves. So
yes.
we wait to see. It's exciting. There's many interesting arguments there. The main petitioner is Raila Odinga, and we saw dramatic entry to the Supreme Court, presenting a lorry full of evidence. So,
a truck full of evidence.
A truck full of evidence. So we don't know how long that will take to be processed. But yes, they may have to work day and night, but that's the essence of justice. When you're seeking for justice, nothing should be left for chance. They have to really do their best, and we see the process beginning. That's where we are in terms of progress.
Mm-hmm.
The Supreme Court has been given by the Constitution only 14 days to prosecute the petition and make a ruling. So we are keen to watch what kind of ruling will be. We know that in terms of Constitution, I'm drawing from the Constitution, being careful not to begin to mention a lot when the court process has kicked off. We know the Constitution of Kenya gives, just after the ruling is done, if they were to go for another election, the Constitution gives them, the country 30 days to conduct another election. Wow. So now you can imagine 30 days to conduct another election. It's interesting. But Jonas, there are words that we have to be careful what they mean. There's a runoff, there's rerun, and then there's another election to come.
Yes.
So, of course, we may, depending on what the court rules, we may have a situation whereby only Raila Odinga and William Ruto will be the key ones to go back for voting.
Sure.
In another case, you may have a scenario, depending on the ruling of the court, whereby former or the presidential candidates who had vied will be allowed also to vie again. at the same time with Raila and Ruto. And then you may have another situation whereby, that being the case, Raila, Ruto, and the others, then you may have the other freshers given the chance to fly fresh. So that's the way the constitution is pans out, the options available through this process. So
I mean, it should be thinking of it now. I think it is doable because let's say elections is the campaign that takes a long time. I think for 30 days for the electoral body to be able to reposition things and the process, 30 days I think is doable. But what's interesting, Julius, as we discussed yesterday, is the electoral body, which is split. And again, we're not trying to prejudice, the outcome of the proceedings in the Supreme Court. But how would this fare, depending on the ruling of the Supreme Court, if, perhaps there is a rerun, knowing that they're split between the, within the camp of the electoral body itself?
It is a very difficult situation to be in, whereby we have a petition in court. At the same time, we've seen the division amongst the IEBC commissioners. There is an argument of what is seen as fully constituted commission, which is the one which is mandated to conduct elections. So when you see the division amongst the commissioners, someone in the future may raise a question, is it fully constituted? See, the thing is, since 2017, the commission was also not fully constituted, and to be able to conduct the general election 2022, they had to be hire new commissioners to fill up the gaps, and also to make sure the constitution, the commission is fully constituted. When it's fully constituted, it's got full mandate to conduct election, and essentially the full constitution of the commission means they ought to speak with one voice. And if they have disagreement, they do this away from camera, away from everybody until they agree. And they have to put that front one face, otherwise then that confidence people have in it may begin to dwindle. So at the moment, we see that's where we are. I don't know whether there are efforts for the Chepkati to try and reconcile with other commissioners, or the division still exists. But that's for the court to make a decision. I'm sure the court will address this thorny issue of the IEBC, because away from the petition by Raila, as I shared, we have other interested parties who have taken IEBC as a commission to court. And one of them was he was vying for presidency, Reuben Kigame, and he claims he was blocked by IEBC because of his disability, because he's blind. There are others also who are taking issue with specific issues that the commission did, and they have taken the IEBC to court. So IEBC has got many cases to deal with, not just the petition. And we are in a situation whereby the Supreme Court may decide, okay, let's put all these accusations together and we deal with them together for the sake of time, or we are going to deal with all of them in different times. That's where we are, Jonas.
Okay. And finally, what is the general mood among Kenyans about this whole this saga?
You see, everybody, let me make you laugh, because whichever camp you belong to, if it was Ruto or Raila, all of them, they used to make these interesting arguments. They say, just wait until after 9. Yeah. After 9, we will be in power, things will be changing.
Yeah.
On the 10th, we'll be up and running. On the 10th of August, we'll be up and running. So I share with them disappointment by all Kenyans, both groups, the winners, the losers, because of also the idea of the length of time it's going to take, before all this is resolved. To give you an example, we are waiting for the Supreme Court to make a ruling maybe by first week of September. Which is not far anyway. But what happens after that? If there will be another election, it may take 30 days. We are in October. The year is almost ending. And all these guys were like, just one day after the general election, we'll be in power. We'll change things, It's not happening, is it?
No, it's not. And I mean, yesterday we spoke about this as well briefly, Julius, that in as much as this is interesting and it strengthens democracy and the subject of democracy comes up, nevertheless, there's a country that still needs to be run, because as things stand, the outgoing president is still at the helm of affairs. However, he can't really make that much decisions, but there are, serious challenges, economic challenges everybody's facing right now, and certain decisions needs to be taken. So time is really not on anybody's side.
Kenyans want service. Kenyans want a government as quick as it's possible. If they were to be told, what word will you write? There's a ASP, but because they want the government to sort the problems that they are facing right now, economic problems. Food has gone out of reach to so many in terms of pricing. Crisis here and there of drought because it didn't rain. We need a government that needs to look out and stop maybe waiting for whatever grain was bought to these countries by the US and United Nations, and grain from Ukraine. They have to look for a different source of grain, because Ukraine doesn't seem to be very much promising. So there are lots and lots of issues that are supposed to be tackled right now, Jonas, and every Kenyan, they're like, I wish we can see the conclusion of this. I wish, in fact, to just actually draw from what I hear people say, they're like, we had so many problems. Why do you take a petition? It's going to take a long time. Just let it go.
Of course, we cannot let it go.
From that voices are coming, shouting, justice. We want justice. We want fairness. Thou shalt not steal our victory.
Julius, thank you very much for joining us. Always a pleasure having you on the show, Julius. Thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you. That was Julius Belito, a broadcaster, a journalist, and also a very good friend of mine. He has his show on Colorful Radio, which is on every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Make sure you tune in, because interesting conversation from Julius. I think I'm his next guest. I'm not sure. I think I am this coming Saturday. I'll be listening. Make sure you listen too. Right then, we'll bring you other stories as well. But now we're going to take a quick break. All right. When we come back, more stories. Angola is Angolans are going to the polls to elect a new president. Plus, we bring you other stories around Nigeria and also in Ghana. And I will read your messages out, I promise you. So keep your messages coming in. This is GN Radio. With myself, John. So we'll be back right after this short commercial.
Become a successful entrepreneur with Jackie and her professional team. Become a successful entrepreneur. Anase Base. Wami a team of professional teachers of economics, marketing. Ninga omuyebi. So pesa will transform your life from a youth graduate and a school leaver. Nasa pesa wo ye entrepreneur. Mon contact base. Entrepreneur no chere say obia ebia wa wo business. Ebia wo ye che. But wo pesa wo ye no in a professional way. To say Oprah Winfrey, Anaya Papa, Kwame Despite. Base, Bitmama, Sa Diano, Abim, one your experts, coaching, and a mentoring. And as person will start our business. Base for bet show how our expanding business and as existing customer base. Base provides support in business plans, step-by-step finance applications, and marketing strategies. Base or become a successful entrepreneur also provide entrepreneurship skills through vision and determination. Some more free consultation for Base
073 99 867 417. I repeat, 073 99 867 417.
And also one more email address info@becomeasuccess.co.uk. Website www.becomeasuccess.co.uk. Mokohwa mubetimi make bookings for an appointment. Base and I said become a successful entrepreneur. Let's turn your vision into a reality.
Hobi benyawa efiade
Ayampo ewiasi so bi benyawo ene yare nanso pastor Shalom be pie mu o man mu de menti so bi ade yare asiri obi da won wa akwa ne ho nyina ya dansedie nko a onyame nam ne dom so ayi a chia na ko a ye nanan mo bi biduru a no mo de sa yare wa e ma bi mu di mfinhia wo ha ne aduonu ane wo ha ne akire no ode be pie ya man mu asa be de ode gi yankwa dodo no a na o diabetes, high blood pressure, stroke, high cholesterol, cocoa, anasa nidane, ana obi a wani so ye usisi, arthritis, anasa sasabro, fibroid, skin rashes, bema o yire fra o comfort, e won paso, ana oba wo pa wo, inti Shalom Herba, e ya last stop, ono de, wode yanya ye krom, ahama, ene ye nubina, ena sabe ode san yare, se mama yare bi din a, na no ntia se oni na duro, gise wadru pastor inti Shalom Herba, ahye, ansa no what the American see, enti wo a wutie me, yare ba no agya tumu se we dia wo yare no no, na Syria sahini Neman, ayare kwata, na wapa anu aduru a, nanso ebre oti onyame akoa, odifo Elisa anka, na okwahunu no, onyame fa ne so, esa ne yare, enti yare bia wonam mu, yare bia etete wo, yare bia ha wo no, enne frɛ Pastor Shalom, I was 074 48 60 6263 and 079 30 65 7750 or 079 84 02 4164. The landline UK is 0203 65 20 297. So what Germany so but me a friend was 0049 69 30 08 8965 and 0049 17 63 70 43 518. Inti Shalom Herbal Medicine there. Aba abaji yankwa. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Yahweh, shalom. Yahweh, shalom.
The world as we know it has changed, and so have the issues affecting our community.
COVID-19 and the geopolitical tensions have really made it abundantly clear that the African continent has to do more to be self-sufficient from an industrial capacity point of view.
Join me, John Sewa, on GN Breakfast Show as we look at issues affecting us here in the UK, with a close eye on trending stories across the world.
When we invest from the UK into infrastructure in African countries, that it is absolutely transparent.
With a focus on Ghana's social and political issues.
I mean, it's not about you thinking about, your money, the Sikadiya Basa is not what our authorities should be thinking about, or officials, but rather they should think about the nation.
The Breakfast Show with John Sewa.
Monday to Wednesday from 8 a.m. on GN Radio.
Welcome back to the show. This is GN Radio Morning Breakfast Show with myself, John Sewa. We're here till 11 o'clock today, As I mentioned earlier, today I have a guest in the studio. We'll be speaking to him about his achievements and what he's doing in the community as a young Ghanaian. A lot of things have been achieved by Ghanaians here. A lot of the times, we tend to focus more on the negative things. But I think in an ideal situation, in an ideal world, the most important things should be the positive things that we're doing as a people. So that's coming up later on the show. I welcome you to call in 0203 We're asking, is poverty a choice? Well, according to the executive chairman of the Tobinco Group of Companies, Dr. Amo Tobin, poverty is a choice. And of course, you heard my monologue, my rant. Just if I had opportunity to speak to him, I would just ask him one thing. So does that mean children in Ghana, kids studying under trees, is their fault? That was the parents' fault. Anyway, so I'll read your messages on that one. But for now, let's look at other stories trending across the continent of Africa. The United Nations peacekeeping force in DRC, that is Democratic Republic of Congo, the Monusco is evacuating its base in the eastern town of Butembo. Local civil society actors say they feel a sense of satisfaction and congratulate the population who mobilized as one to demand the unconditional withdrawal of this contingent.
The United Nations peacekeeping force in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Monusco, is evaluating its base in the eastern town of Butembo, pulling out some of its troops. Local civil society actors have welcomed the move, which the populations in the area have long demanded. It is a feeling of satisfaction, and here we congratulate the whole population who mobilized as one to demand the unconditional withdrawal. We would like them, MONUSCO, to withdraw from Beni territory as well as from Lubero territory. And why not from North Kivu in general, as we have indicated in the four civil society coordinations of the North? Anger has been fueled by perceptions that MONUSCO is failing to do enough to stop decades of armed conflict. More than 120 militias operate in the DRC's troubled east. MONUSCO bases in the region were attacked last month by protesters.
The World Bank has signed off a $300 million grant to Mozambique, marking its return to the country 6 years after it suspended aid over a hidden debt scandal. Mozambique Finance Minister Max Tonella said the money will be used to finance infrastructure projects to help boost the country's economy and improve living conditions in the country. Our focus is to boost public and private financing for our economy, and it is on this scope that today we are signing these agreements with the World Bank. These direct support agreements to the state budget is a donation form of 300 million American dollars are to be applied on the infrastructure projects that help to galvanize our economy and also to improve the life conditions of our people. The World Bank Country Director for Mozambique, Ida Swarai, outlined that the deal aims to support structural reforms and build upon efforts made in recent years to strengthen the accountability and transparency in the public sector.
Esta operação não só disponibiliza.
This operation doesn't make available only the necessary resources, but also supports the structural reforms that approach the critical governance challenge and promote the job promotion through further development of the private sector. The agreement follows a $456 million deal with the International Monetary Fund signed in May that marked Mozambique's return to good grace after a scandal that triggered its worst economic crisis since independence from Portugal more than 4 decades ago.
Using Jump data.
All right, now in other news, going to Ghana, and probably this guy's name. I've been talking about this guy for the past, I don't know, like 2 weeks straight. And in case you've been following us, it's not my liking, okay, for talking about this man. It's just that his name keeps popping up. And, you know, as the saying goes, there's no smoke without fire, right? But I'm sure whatever it is will unfold right in front of our eyes. And the person I'm talking about here is the Director General of Customs. The Director General of Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Colonel Kojo Damoah, again has been implicated by the national security in another case of alleged tax evasion. If you do recall, a couple of weeks ago, we brought you the story, the La Bianca saga, which was an investigation carried out by the special prosecutor. And in its findings, a member of the Council of State who owned her own business, she's into the frozen food businesses, right? Had preferential treatment when her goods were coming in. And the special prosecutor actually mentioned the name of the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Colonel Kojo Damoah. And in response to the special prosecutor's mentioning his name, he did a press conference where he refuted what the special prosecutor has said about him, and saying that, the special prosecutor is a small boy. He has not achieved the level of success him, Kojo Damoah, has achieved. And as such, God is on his side. And, it goes on and on and on. However, it looks as if, the case is not going anywhere anytime soon. In a confidential document reported by Star FM, the Deputy National Security Coordinator, Edward Asumeni, now in October 2021, wrote to the Commissioner General of GRA, Reverend Amishidai Owusu Amoah, asking for an investigation into incidents of alleged tax evasion. Mr. Asumini, in the letter, indicated that the team of customs intelligence officers led by one John Agbewu on the 21st of October 2022 intercepted 2 cargo trucks at Jowulu, near the Fiesta Royal Hotel in Accra, with the assistance of national security operatives. The team arrested the cargo trucks on suspicion of under-declaration and misdescription of goods. Now, according to the report, the officers subsequently escorted the trucks, which were coming from a flower border, to the Customs Laboratory Division at Airport Roundabout for re-examination. Now, here's where it gets interesting. However, according to the national security boss, the owners of the goods, who were discourteous towards the arresting officers, allegedly made a phone call to Colonel Damoah over their arrest. And I quote, in needs stating that during their interception, the traders were discourteous towards the arresting officers, with one of them allegedly placing a phone call to Mr. Damoah, commissioner of the CDGR. Subsequently, Agbewu received a call from one Kojo Bonsu, staff officer to the commissioner, instructing him to release the truck unconditionally, the document said. The leader of the arresting team is said to have received another call from a deputy commissioner of customs in charge of operations, Eduche, who also issued an instruction for the release of the trucks. Additionally, the trader who placed the call to Colonel Damoah recorded the arresting officers on video to be forwarded to him. Okay. So if you recall, many years ago, this was Ghana, under the former president, Atta Mills, when the investigative journalist Anas brought to light the type of things, the kind of things that were happening at the harbor. I think this is on the same scale. And I have to put this declaration out there, this disclosure out there, that I'm no way casting any aspersions on this man's character. However, he's been in the news for about 6 consecutive days, which means that something needs to be done. And it's not just this. A group of people to have come out petitioning the special prosecutor to also do an investigation from 2009 right up to 2016, which again, Mr. Damoah's name seems to appear in that investigation. So we'll see what happens with that. But it's unbelievable for me, to still see that the lady in question, in particular, to do with the member of the Council of State, is still in her position. She hasn't resigned. Anyway, let's move on. Let's look at Angola. Experts observer mission ready for the general election in Angola. When it comes to politics, nothing phases me or surprises me anymore.
Confidence is the key word in Angola's general election slated for Wednesday the 24th. The presence of observers is of fundamental importance for the acceptance of the election results. 2,000 national and international observers have been accredited to follow the election process. Among the foreign delegations is a 29-member mission from the Community of Portuguese-Speaking Countries, CPLP, headed by the former President of the Republic of Cape Verde, Jorge Carlos Fonseca.
A CPLP faz o seu trabalho, que é com esse número.
The CPLP does its job, that is, with the number of observers that they have, taking into account the size of the country, the relative importance of the provinces, the constituencies. We will focus on the province of Luanda, Bengo, Kwanza North, and Kwanza South. Taking into account that Luanda, for example, has close to 4 million voters, a third of the voters with samples from Bengo, Kwanza North, and Kwanza South, I believe, can give a relatively positive, objective view of what happens in the electoral process. The European Union has 2 experts on ground for a longer mission than that of the CPLP as they follow the process up to the possible challenge actions in the courts. The report is never made public. There are also national observers. In relation to other elections, Luis Jimbo from the Angolan Electoral Observatory explains that they have less support, but the accreditation was faster and that they had more time for training. At the same time, several citizens are organizing themselves to verify if the results announced in Luanda correspond to the notices posted in each polling station. The citizens have lost confidence in the organs of the CNE, the National Electoral Commission, and they are using any means to gain confidence in the electoral results because there is a very low level of trust in the institutions. The citizens, and especially the youth, who are about 50% of our voters, are creating this environment and this effort to believe in the process with something more than the official results. Besides the CPLP and European experts, the African Union, the Southern African Development Community, and the Jimmy Carter Center are some of the bodies that are in Angola to observe the electoral process.
João Pessoa Monteiro, Euronews, Luanda.
All right, now let's head over to Nigeria. A Nigerian gang leader has accepted a truce offered by authorities in the northwestern state of Zamfara, which has been racked up by years of deadly violence, a local official said. The band leader, Bello Tujuri, has agreed to end attacks and kidnappings for ransom. Zamfara State Deputy Governor Hassan Nasha told a news conference broadcast on local stations. And I quote him. He said, "We have reached a peace agreement with Turji, his name is, and in the last 6 weeks, not a single person has been killed in the areas he controls." End quote. He said, Turji is now fighting with other gangs that have refused to lay down their arms. Heavily armed bandits have been terrorizing communities in the area for years, looting villages, killing and abducting people, and burning houses. In exchange for laying down their arms, the deputy governor said the bandits had demanded an end to extrajudicial killings of members of their ethnic community and the release of gang members arrested by law enforcement. Many of the bandits are pastoralists, and among the conditions of the truce, they also demanded the restoration of water points and grazing reserves and return of their farmland seized as loot by local communities. The local authority agreed to all the demands, despite several previous attempts at peace agreements with bandits that did not last. According to Bulama Bukati, an analyst at the Tony Blair Institute for Global Change, Turji himself has violated peace agreements in the past. Turji never paid for his atrocities. This is a deal made in a hurry by desperate politicians to score points before next elections, he said on Twitter. Absolutely. This is, oh, goodness me. Do you know something? This is what, and I'm going to be honest with you, right? This is what bothers me a lot. A lot of the times, and I'm not alone in this, by the way, many of my peers, okay, we're so pro Africa that it is ridiculous, right? That all the time we just want to see a progressive continent, all the countries, and we want people who have committed atrocities to be brought to justice. And I agree with the man who works at the Tony Blair Institute of Global Change. It makes absolutely no sense. I mean, elections just run the corner. I think Nigeria's election is probably just like 6 months or 5.5 months away. So then all of a sudden, they know who the perpetrator is and they're able to strike a deal with the perpetrator. And this is what I was saying yesterday about the security issues in Nigeria. Okay, it's not, you can't just say these are the enemies, these are the bandits, these are and, they've been labeled as bandits. These are terrorists. These are the terrorists. So let's go after them. Somehow, some way, okay, there is a politician somewhere attached to these bandits. The reason why I say this is because in 2018, when the Chibok girls were kidnapped, okay, the Nigerian police and the army were actually arguing among themselves. The blame game. No, we told you to be on guard. No, we told you at this time we're leaving and you're supposed to take over. So they actually know who the leader is to be able to locate him and strike a deal. Hey. Sometimes you read these stories and they just leave you perplexed. And, in the age of mental health, some of these stories, and I say constantly, it's just unthinkable. And if there is a case or there's a history where he's reneged on the agreements, what makes you think that, this time round nothing's going to happen? And like the young man said, it's just cheap point scoring, political point scoring. Oh, since we signed the agreement for 6 weeks now, we haven't seen anything. A whole 6 weeks, nothing has happened. So therefore, we need to tap ourselves on the back. We've been able to strike a deal with a criminal. These are the people we vote into office. These are the people that are there to protect us. So upon all these years, when these guys have been terrorizing the community, it didn't occur to the leaders to actually find them to strike a deal. But conveniently, just a few months before election, because they're seeking re-election, all of a sudden we've been able to strike a deal, and the killings and everything has ceased, and they've actually adhered to their demands. They've adhered to their demands, and one thing for sure, and I'm not, I don't have any expertise, but one thing I do know is you give a criminal an inch, they will take a yard. That's what they would do, because they feel as though they have the negotiation power, and they will keep causing more atrocities because they know after 4 or 5 years, when election is coming, they will heed to our demands, and they will keep doing that. And these idiots, okay, I take that back. I might be going a bit too far. Sometimes our emotions get the best of us, and we can't help it because, it's just it's nonsensical. I'm sorry, it makes no sense. There's no logic to this approach. And if we were to find, to get our hands on the supposed contract, the agreements between them, if it wasn't just a gentleman's agreement, verbal agreement, if we were supposed to get our hands on it, you realize that there's probably a time limit probably said to them, and this is me just speculating, by the way, so this is not fact, okay? This is just me speculating, my thoughts just running wild. Probably, okay, stop whatever killings, whatever kidnappings, right until I've been re-elected, and you can go back and do your own thing, because we've seen it before. If these guys have gone back on their words, what makes you think this time round that, all of a sudden they're going to change? A criminal is a criminal. A criminal is a criminal. Gosh. Continue to send your messages in. Let me read a few messages. And I don't mean to sound I'm just frustrated. Just like you. Sometimes you sit down, you just have to scratch your head and you're thinking, really? This is actually happening? All right. Let me take my caller. Hello, good morning. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. This is Kofi Ali. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you, sir. Kofi, what would you like to say?
Yeah, actually, what you are discussing, most of them are a bit challenging and confusing and conflicting. How do I say? I was talking to you the last time, and in the course of trying to address issue, you made mention of the EU, Britain leaving the EU. I don't know whether you recall.
Uh-huh.
Why I'm bringing this in is that most of the time when we are arguing, discussing that, the ECOWAS in West Africa is the way forward in the world of the titans. Everybody know the great powers do what they like. You have the Americans, you have the Russians, Chinese is looking at Taiwan, Russia is looking at Ukraine, the Europeans are struggling to come together to protect themselves. The United Kingdom, as I always tell people, UK did not join the European Union. It was Britain that joined the EEC. I don't know whether you get that point.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, because it started, oh gosh, I think it was Italy, Luxembourg.
After the Second World, 1956.
Yeah. But Kofi, hold on for me. Call on the mobile line instead, because that line is more stable than this one. And we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll continue our discussion, Kofi.
Okay.
All right, thank you. You can also call in, all right? We're going for a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with our discussion. I want to hear your take on what we've discussed here this morning. Is poverty a choice? Is one. We also brought you a quick roundup of what's happening across the continent of Africa, plus Kenya's election, the aftermath, as opposition petitioned the Supreme Court due to irregularities, according to them, they just concluded elections. We'll be back shortly.
Become a successful entrepreneur with Jackie and her professional team. Become a successful entrepreneur. Anase Base. Wami a team of professional teachers of economics, marketing, ninga omoyebi. So pesa will transform our life from a youth graduate and our school leaver. Na so pesa wo ye entrepreneur. Mon contact Base. Entrepreneur no chere say obia ebia wa wo business. Ebia wo ye che. But wo pesa wo ye no in a professional way. To say Oprah Winfrey. Anaya papa Kwame Despite. Base betmama sa diano abim. One your experts ewo coaching and a mentoring. And as person will start our business base for better how we expand our business and as existing customer base. Base provides support in business plans, step-by-step finance applications, and marketing strategies. Base or become a successful entrepreneur also provide entrepreneurship skills through vision and determination. Some more free consultation for a base
073 99867 417. I repeat, 073 99867 417.
And also one more email address info@becomeasuccess.co.uk. Website www.becomeasuccess.co.uk. Mokohwa mobetimi make bookings for an appointment. Base and I said become a successful entrepreneur. Let's turn your vision into a reality.
Abusiafo yɛde dwumadie foforɔ ɛbrɛ mu wɔ GN Radio. Your friend of worship and inspiration every Sunday evening between the hours of 7 and 9 p.m. Daniel Kweku Datson and Amanda Ofori at this Ajumedie Ebro. Make sure that you tune in. It's going to be an awesome moment of worship, God's word, conversation, gospel celebrity interviews, Bible knowledge, and what have you. And also your comments. I want to hear from you, your testimonies, what inspires you, and a lot more. Make sure say on miss our programming every Sunday evening at GN Radio. Worship and inspiration. Your weekly inspiration starts from here.
Welcome back to the show. The time now is 3 minutes past 10. It is Wednesday, 24th of August, 2022. I know Kofi's on the line, but Kofi, just bear with me. Let me just put this across, okay? Are you a problem solver or a good listener? Do you play in the fence or take the lead? Are you a multitasker or a people's person? Everyone that has one thing they were born to do. Find yours with a career in the Royal Air Force. Gain confidence, belief, and resilience as you achieve things you never thought were possible. Learn new skills, work with cutting-edge technology, and travel the world. Form unique bonds with new lifelong friends who share your ambition. You are given a chance to pursue your personal passions as part of your career. In the RAF, you have the space to be yourself and have plenty of time to see friends, family, and live your own life. There is no ordinary job in the RAF. Find your force now by searching RAF recruitment. All right, now, before we went on the break, we were speaking to Kofi Ali. Hopefully this line is much, much better. Kofi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Good. So you may carry on, Kofi.
Yes. I'm coming with a different dimension.
Of course, you always do, sir.
The kind of historical life. And the reason is very simple. When you wake up in the morning and you hear someone say that people are poor because they choose to be poor, I think that is one of the issues you put on the table.
Yes.
Good. And that is why I'm trying to take your mind through certain realities. And I was talking to you about the fact that poverty, right, is most times about the individual, but it's about the group. If your parents give birth to you, and when your parents give birth to you, your parents are poor. So you couldn't go to school. You couldn't have good food to eat. You are wearing rags about. Did you choose to be poor?
Absolutely not, sir.
Good. I like being personal sometimes.
No, let's
If you are
not put any
lucky,
personal issues on here, sir. Please.
yeah. Sometimes I like doing it. I just want to use a good example.
No personal issues, Kofi, please.
Okay, I'll know what to do. Okay, now, if one is born into a family and the family is a bit strong, can you see? When the family see that the nation into which they were born has no future for that child, they take the child into a nation where it is strong. And before you see, that child start getting up and doing what normal people do. So when you have children who are either born by Ghanaian parents here or are sent here, and they are now having different opportunities and they are thriving and doing great things, turning back to say those in Ghana are stupid can be very challenging.
Yes.
Now, while those who are here are a proof that there's nothing wrong with the Ghanaian, is the situation that he's in it, that is turning him into what he is becoming, then we are saying that, look, there is no politician who is not corrupt. Politicians in America started with corruption. Democracy in America started, but it is working. Then let us go back and say the problem is not the corruption. There is more to this problem than the problem we are dealing with. And anytime we bring in the issue of ECOWAS, you take us to EU and then say, oh, if the British are leaving, then it is good for us also to leave ECOWAS, or we shouldn't be serious about ECOWAS. That is what the language, when we are talking and people bring in Britain, that is the impression they are giving, even when they are not saying it directly. Let us clear that part of the concerns.
I think, Kofi, let me just interject briefly with the EU and the ECOWAS comparison, or Britain leaving the EU. I think what people, the basis of the argument is, the UK is a massive contributor to the EU, and if as such, somebody that is of significance to the EU decides to pull out, then obviously that needs to be reevaluated, Kofi.
Now, so UK is a contributor to the EU. UK make trade with the EU. UK benefit from the EU. Is both sides, isn't it? Well, it's two ways.
Yes.
And then the not UK. I think we need to stop confusing the word UK with Britain. And I started by saying that the UK did not join the EU. It was Britain, which is part of the UK, that joined the EU. And they didn't join the EU, they joined the EEC, which is a simple trading bloc. Yeah. Good. But with time, the Europeans who wanted a super state, which will be a rival to the United Kingdom, and I'll explain what I'm saying here, decided because it's not okay to be part of one sovereign alliance union and be part of another one. The Queen, who is the head of state of this United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, all of them, she is their head of state. It's the same position the President of America is having. She is the head of state. You can't be part of this sovereign body and then have another body, European Union, making law that override the law made by the Queen. The Queen is the last person to sign all laws, sovereign laws here. So if EU is going to be making laws, and that law is not consistent with the law here, the Queen has, gone through all the system and the Queen has approved it, then there's a conflict of interest here. Britain cannot continue to be part of that union. I don't know whether it makes sense to you.
I understand what you're saying, Kofi.
Do you remember the case of Abu Hamza?
If we go back to Brexit, I don't think that was mainly the argument, because we have, as you're aware, we have Eurosceptics, and I think mainly the fundamental point there was about immigration. And the reason why I said that Britain was a significant member to the EU, I mean, look at the preferential treatment Britain gets. It's not part of the Schengen. It kept its pounds. It didn't take the euros. And Britain wanted more. everything in the Brexit debate hindered on they kept saying quote unquote we want to make our own laws. Britain makes its own laws anyway. It boiled down to the human rights laws, okay, which a lot of people did not like, and also the free movement of people. And this was the basis of Brexit. It was a massive, massive, massive factor, Kofi.
So, can I come in?
Yes, sir.
You see, the way you are talking was the way I was thinking too, until I have a reason to sit down and ask myself, the argument on the street of the United Kingdom of Britain is different from what they are saying in Brussels. Totally different. In Brussels, Farage and his mate are talking about sovereignty, while on the street of the United of Britain, people are talking about economic challenge and the problems they have on the street.
But Kofi,
immigrants and so on.
Nigel Farage, that was just pure politicking, Kofi. We know that. That was just pure politics. And of course, the main reason, and statistics are there. I don't have a moment. I would have pulled them out to you. That one of the main reasons was, immigration, free movement of people.
In politics, when you are addressing issues, sometimes you go to the issues that is more appealing to people.
Of course.
Whereas what you want is totally different from what you are trying to tell them to do.
And that's the politics, sir.
This is the game they played. Because the word sovereignty means nothing to the person on the street of Britain. The word you are a threat to the Queen is not a problem to most of the people. So you can use that one as a basis. But when you start making an argument, people are seeing migrants on their street, rough sleeping. People are being told every day 350 million pounds is given to EU. You understand? And they are going to lose their council house. The NHS is under threat. They will vote the way you want them to vote.
Sure.
Good. So I don't want to go down. I've sat down 6 years, wrote a book on this subject. So I don't want us to waste time on those things.
All right.
What I just want to bring up is that Ghana is a victim here. Yes, Britain, as part of the United Kingdom, where the Queen, this Queen is not the head of state of Ghana. I don't know whether you are not aware. Yes, she's not the head of state of Nigeria. She's not the head of state of India. She's not the head of state of Pakistan. There are so many countries. Even Barbados have just left the union. So they have a union already. They have a union. Solomon Island, go there. Bermudas, go there. St. Helena, Falkland, go there. The same person is the head of state. New Zealand, Canada, Gibraltar. So let us understand, it is a union like the United States of America. The difference is that these ones are not in one place, individually registered at the United Nations, and they have different flags, and they need visa to go to each other's land, which was just recently introduced. Do I make sense?
Yes, Kofi, but I'm trying to...
Now, the Europeans are forming the same thing. Eh?
I'm trying to see where you are linking this with Ghana.
Now, let's link... No, I'm coming. Europeans have realized that they don't have that structure. Germans don't have it. French don't have it. French has lost all their colonies. Portugal, Spain, they are on their own. And the Chinese are now a threat. And the Russians are there. And they can't be waiting on Americans. That is the idea behind the formation of the European Union, so that they can defend their political interests, common interests, economic interests, and technological interests. That is why they form it. And that is why they are working. So they have one common army, which when they have a common army, the Queen is the head of state here, and therefore commander-in-chief of the UK armed forces. When the Europeans have now formed an army, what will happen to the one the Queen is controlling? I'm trying to let you...
Again, I know you don't want us to go back down that road, but this was exactly what Brexiteers voted against, the fact that Europe is trying to come together and to form the army. They don't want that. People did not want that.
They are coming together to form a super state.
Yes, and they don't want that.
Like America. And these ones already have a queen who is a commander of so many nations already. So why do you want to be part of that one? They don't have a reason to be part of it. Now tell me, what is Ghana part of? You now tell me. I want to ask you.
ECOWAS, African Union.
My brother, let us be serious when we are talking about issues like this. I don't know whether you hold a Ghanaian passport.
ECOWAS passport. Yes, I do, sir.
Now you hold ECOWAS passport. You hold African Union passport too.
No, I don't. Just ECOWAS.
Do you hold United Nations passport?
No, I don't know
Now,
passport is.
Now, if you hold ECOWAS passport, it means you are ECOWAS citizens. You are no more in the past. We used to have Ghanaian passport. I don't know whether you had that kind of passport in the past.
Yes, I did.
Because then now they change it. So now our identity has changed. In the past, when we say we are talking about we Ghanaians, is that not true? Ghanaians against the rest of the world, is that not true?
Yes.
Now we ECOWAS against the rest of the world. Why should this be difficult for us to understand? Because we are not using our mind. So when Britain does something, which we go and do it, they are giving benefit. They keep people in council. How many people are we being able to even create jobs for? The president of Ghana comes saying that he created 2 million jobs and he's so happy over 8 years. How many did ECOWAS created? Or is Ghana ECOWAS? Ghana is a member state of ECOWAS. Ghana collects tax from us, ECOWAS collects tax from us because they are two different things. Do you understand me here?
Yes.
Yes. So when we are paying tax to those in ECOWAS, and we are having election in Ghana, and everything we are talking about in Ghana is about what is happening in Ghana. Okay, and then we use that point to vote for people.
When we pay taxes to those in ECOWAS, so who benefits for the taxes that we pay in ECOWAS?
You're asking me who benefits?
Who benefits?
It's supposed to be for us to benefit, and we are not benefiting. Because the only thing they are doing is meeting.
So who is benefiting?
You don't get me. Let me make it very straight here. In Ghana, we pay tax. We don't benefit from anything from Ghana government. Go to Ghana and see. If you buy water, you pay for your water. You buy everything, you pay. Are we benefiting? No. Most Ghanaians, our roads are bad. But be patient.
This is what
be patient. Be patient. Be patient.
To build infrastructure, to sort problems.
Which infrastructure?
In the country.
We are paying salaries of ministers. Do you know the president's salary and his ministers and his parliamentarians? They are also salary we are paying. We don't get anything. All the thing you see they are building in Ghana, we borrow money to build them. So if our tax is useful, why are we borrowing money?
But
so don't let us go that way.
Question,
I'm answering your question if you be patient. You are asking me that we pay tax to Ghana to ECOWAS government and we are not benefiting, isn't it? Good.
So who's
but we should be quiet on that.
So
I'm coming.
From the tax that we pay to ECOWAS.
You said?
Who's benefiting from the tax that we pay to ECOWAS?
And that is what I'm going to give you an answer. We are those who are benefiting, including you. The way you are benefiting from Ghana, that you are working here like a slave and sending your money to people in Ghana, that's how you are benefiting ECOWAS to your tax issue workplace. On both sides. Now, this is why we talk about Ghana. Can you see? Because we are not happy with the deal. We are not happy with what we are getting. That is why every Ghanaian is on the street for demonstration. Is that not true?
Yeah.
Why are we pretending those in ECOWAS don't exist? The criminals we vote for in Ghana, they then go to ECOWAS and go and represent us as what? We didn't vote for them to go to ECOWAS. Their argument for the election was purely Ghanaian. Purely Ghanaian, nothing about ECOWAS. Now when you vote for them, they go to Ghana Parliament. Then the criminals we call liars, then choose themselves to go to ECOWAS Parliament. Why don't we vote for different people to go to ECOWAS? Let's vote for different criminals.
All right, Kofi, points well made. Thank you very much. We'll continue the discussion again. Thank you very much.
Because if our country prosper, in this case, our union as ECOWAS prosper, then we shall have a better choices to make.
All right, Kofi, thank you very much. I think yes, I gave you enough time to talk. Thank you. Always a pleasure speaking to you, Kofi. That was Mr. Kofi Ali there calling in. All right, let me read some of the text messages that have come in. Yeah. Okay. This is from Alex. Alex is saying, "Is poverty a choice? This depends on how one wants to look at it. Though he has a point, there is potential fallacy of hasty generalization is implicit in his argument. In general and at individual level, poverty could have been a choice. At state or national level, poverty could be argued to be a choice. On individual level, how does one become poor? There are many factors that create poverty, from generational factors to educational and political ones. At national levels, it could be argued that it is a choice, as the state has all the powers to make and unmake the individual society under its control. This is a big debate that requires adequate search to enable one to produce any solid conclusion. Well, I can just think of one, Alex. Thank you, Alex, for sending this in. So if we go by the World Bank, okay, um, the World Bank's measurement of how to calculate who lives in abject poverty, I think is, if I'm not mistaken, if you live on less than a pound, you're deemed to live in abject poverty. No, if you're on I think it's under a pound, you're deemed to live in abject poverty. So this is why the likes of India and China are seen as the quickest economy, one of the emerging economy, or they've been able to take people out of poverty. People have come out of abject poverty in these countries. What they fail to realize is that China and India combined together make 1/3 of the world population. So the argument that these countries have been able to eradicate poverty doesn't really stand. Of course, attached to that is this whole globalization debate, right? So that is the argument. However, and this is why sometimes you cannot just use data to form the basis of your argument. Because if we go down, deep into these countries, supposedly out of abject poverty, when you go down, on the level to the ground to get the real information, you realize that it's far from the truth. So coming back to the question of poverty is a choice, I don't think poverty is a choice. Kofi also agrees that poverty is not a choice, because Kofi gave the example of, yes, you could be born into poverty, your parent, however, you find yourself in this country, and there are many stories. We've heard people crossing, going through this crazy journey, making perilous journey across the Mediterranean to get to Egypt, um, Libya, and then to Italy. And we see what's happened, because these guys were, they claim, a lot of them are claiming that they live in poverty. It's hard where they're from, and then by luck, they make their way to the European countries, and they're able to excel, because what they do here is they're able to send money back home. And this is why people in the diaspora is key to the development of nations in Africa, because obviously purchasing power and the exchange rates, the money we're able to send back home to help feed our family. Now I understand that, but I don't think poverty is a choice, because not everybody will have the access. Like Kofi said, you could be in this country. Let's say, for instance, if you're in this country and you happen to be poor, and the fact that you don't have any medical issues attached to your being, and you're just comfortable in your situation, then there's no argument. Because in this country, yes, there is poverty, but poverty compared to poverty in Africa, totally different ball game. All right. So in this country, and especially as an immigrant, if you're an able person and if you're poor, then I think the assertion that the man is making can be justified, to say the least. But growing up in a country where you don't have access to education, access to clean water, access to technology, access to capital, access to a lot of things you don't have, then whose fault is it? It's not your fault. It's not. Okay, Agnes is saying, Jones, I absolutely disagree with the man. Poverty is not by choice. There are many people, many families born into poverty. It is not their choice. Sometimes just circumstances. Look at the people that live in rural areas who have no access to internet. Is it their choice? Who have no access to education. Is it their choice? Who have no access to clean sanitation. Is it their choice? Who have no access to proper health care. Is it that? I mean, I agree with you, Agnes. That the list goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. James is saying, "Good morning, Jones. Always fun listening to you and Kofi Ali. Mr. Ali, good morning to you. Long live ECOWAS." But Kofi, I don't think that countries will give their authority or power to ECOWAS for ECOWAS to function the way you want it to. Secondly, I don't think poverty is a choice. If poverty was a choice, then I think the man that is claiming that needs to come back, needs to be born into poverty so he can make it out and then come and tell us whether it's a choice or not a choice. Okay. Nana is saying this is absolutely nonsense. How can an individual say poverty is a choice? Look at the economic hardship that everybody is going through now. Is it their choice to be going through such economic hardship? Nonsense. Good morning to you, Jones. All right. Keep your thoughts and comments coming in. I will read them out. Right now, let's turn our attentions to my guest in the studio. The top of the hour, I did make mention to you that I'll have a guest in the studio. He's a young Ghanaian in the UK. Many other times, a lot of people are doing great, but for some reason, we fail to share light on the achievements and the success in this country. He goes by the name of Kwame Osei Owusu. Now, before I get him to speak, I think it's only right for me to just give you a bit of a background of his achievement and who he is. So, Kwame Osei Owusu, who's looking at me right here, is a young Ghanaian man who was born in Kumasi, in Ghana, but currently residing in North London in the United Kingdom. He has recently completed his foundation pharmacist training. He is the founding member of I Aspire to Inspire Students Network, which he and his co-founder are using the platform to support young people with their career pathway. Other organizations he works for are the National Citizen Service, NCS, and Reach Out to All, CIC. He has currently been honored with the Diana Awards for being an outstanding hero for his contribution to mental health advocacy and youth development. In 2021, he was awarded with the Social Activist Award of the class of 2021 by the Black Impact Award. And lastly, he is a nominee of the Bright Light Award ceremony. Bright Light Award ceremony awards for his contribution to youth mentoring. He's always described himself. No, he's always described his purpose on Earth as shelf. Good morning to you, Anna Kwame, or Kwame Osei Owusu. Your mic's went up, yeah. So, good morning again. Good morning. Thank you for coming on the show.
Good morning, Jones. Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. Let me start by asking you. You said you described yourself as your purpose on earth as shelf. What is it? Because I obviously understand it is an acronym.
Yeah.
It has a meaning. What does it mean?
Yeah, so shelf is something special to me, and it's actually 5 letters, and five is actually a special number to me. So everybody who knows me knows that five is a number that is very dear to me because going back, my date of birth is 5th of May, 0505. We are five in the family, 5 boys.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I'm the eldest. One of the things that with me, every single person who actually saw me at a very early stage knew that I wanted to be part of every single thing. Though I had my set pathway, but I always want to learn something new. I want to actually make myself useful, regardless whether it's in my field or not. So it's something that is very special. So getting closer to my, I think 19th or 20th birthday. I've slightly forgotten. I think it might be 19th birthday. I was just on campus a day before my birthday. I've been praying about it because people who are close to me have always been drawing my attention to myself that I have got a lot of talent. I've got a lot of stuff that I've got my hands on. Henceforth, I need to be very prayerful to God for God to actually get me closer to what my purpose is. So I've been praying, and this conversation, the last conversation I had with someone was in 2013. So it's been a long period of time. It's something I've been pondering, been praying about, and lo and behold, a day before my birthday, I was on campus working to actually have my pre birthday celebration, and God actually revealed to me that this is the purpose I have for you, which is shelf. So initially it didn't actually make sense to me, and it was like, I would like you to speak, I would like you to heal, I would like you to educate and entertain, I would like you to lead, and I would like you to fight. And on top of it all, shelf is something with me. I always tell people that I'm not someone who can be boxed, because when it comes to people asking me, so what do you do? I find it very difficult to actually say I do this, because I don't want to place emphasis on one thing over the other. So it made me realize that, you know what, you're not someone who can be boxed. After I got that purpose, you're not someone who can be boxed, but someone who has to be put on a shelf. It's because you're big enough to be put in the shelf, because no, you can't fit in any box. Henceforth, shelf.
Okay, all right, that's interesting, and I mean, just listening to you speak there, we'll come to your accolades in a minute, but I'm always interested in the story behind the individual.
Yeah.
And listening to you, it looks as if that faith is very important.
Very important
in what you do.
You do, yeah.
Right. And one will ask or will argue that, really would you find a young person in, modern day
Yeah.
that is highly driven, ambitious, achieved a lot, and served his community at the same time, faith being at the center of what he does. I'm guessing that you're a Christian.
Yes, I am.
You're a Christian.
Yeah.
Okay. And this was something that was instilled in you while I was growing up in Ghana.
It was instilled in me, but I had to actually find it myself along the journey, and I'll go much in depth if you would like me to.
Yes, how did you? Because that's interesting. Because the funny thing is, and this is not just Ghanaians, just across a whole lot of people. But
Yes.
As you're a Ghanaian, maybe let's just stick to
The Ghanaian community, yeah.
Yeah, because most of the times it's either instilled in us right from birth, okay, and then it's always there. At some point, maybe you get to a point in your life where maybe you're not sure, but you always come back to it. And then you have the ones that they know nothing about, knew about it, but weren't really practicing it. And then all of a sudden, boom, it just hits them. Like the Holy Ghost hits them, and they just run up with it.
Yeah.
Where do you fit in this?
I was actually born in a Christian family. To be specific, I was born in a Catholic family. I was brought up by my grandparents, because my mom had actually traveled. Every single person in my family is Catholic. But during the time of my birth, we actually relocated from where we were living in Kumasi. We have moved into a new area. It's a new site. Like I think we were the first settlers in that area. So there was no Catholic church in that area. And I was born in a very big family. So in terms of transport, going back to our old location to go for service was quite tedious for the family. So we had to actually go with my cousin's dad that time. He was actually Pentecostal. So in the formative years, I was actually born I was actually going to the Pentecostal church. But I didn't have that real connection with God, I'll be honest with you, because I would turn up to church anytime and I didn't even understand the Bible. Because though I was born in Ghana, spoke Chi and everything, but Chi Bible was something that was really hard for me to understand because you go to the church and there was no Sunday school. And that is something that, to me, it was the first flaw of the church. Because if you really want us to become true Christians as church, we are the foundation of the church. We need to be invested in. And we didn't have anyone who was teaching us. So we would join the adult service and imagine being a kid. My brain is small. I cannot consume everything. If the Bible, it needs someone who is you need to be taught because there are certain codes that need to be broken for you to understand. And I believe the foundation could have taken from the Sunday school. So when I grew up to a certain age, because you can't force me to go to church, I used to prioritize other activities like home chores over church because I wanted to kill the time because I was like, me going to church was a waste of time. So I did everything in that capacity, but God knew that our heart was not in that church. So he knew what he was going to do. So getting nearer, because all my siblings, all of us had planned that, you know what, once we reach a certain age, we are going to rebel. We ain't going to go to that church. We will start finding God our own way. Then God being so good, my granddad, since we moved to that area, that's where we still live in Ghana. May so rest in peace, my late granddad and my late grandma. He actually fought so hard to actually have a church in my area because with him, he says that even if that's the last thing he does on earth before he passes away, he would do it. He will make sure that my community have a Catholic church because he's very devoted and he had a very great impact on me today. That is one of the reasons why I'm really, really into my faith. So long story short, we fought for it. We actually had a church in our community. I was one of the people. I would say I was one of the people that the church was built on because I used to make sure that the church is ready. I set up everything. So I've served in the church. So for the past 10 or 11 years, I've been very active in the Catholic church. I've served. I'll be the person to wake up early to go to church, go set it up for the priest to come to make it ready. So in the house, I was the first person to leave the house to go to church here and there. So through that, it made me build my relationship with God because at that point in time, I've been baptized. I've got to actually have a responsibility. I've got to know my purpose in God. I've got to understand God, how he does his stuff, how his mechanism works here and there. So that was the building effect. And it reached a latter point in my life. I went through certain challenges. And in life, I believe that your own personal relationship with God is actually the best way for you to know God, not your parents holding your hand, because your parents will hold your hands to a certain limit, but you have to become a master of your faith. And the challenges I went through, the people I got closer to, those eye-opening conversations I had that I also had with God ended up helping me to build my faith to this phase. Henceforth, there are certain challenges that sometimes I go through. Some people will ask, how do you go through this? How do you end up going about it? It is because I believe in God. And when I started to actually have that belief in God and knowing that by God's grace, my effort and everything will actually come fruition, it has been able to lay certain burden or certain kind of load away from me. So sometimes I'll go for a deal like tomorrow. I've got like a deal that when I spoke to the people last week, they were like, "You didn't get picked." On the phone, I said, "Oh, thank you very much," because back in the days, I would have moaned. I would have actually got like, I would have ended up actually be very, very hard on myself. But because I know that God is going to be the one who's going to orchestrate, if it's God's plan for me to do it, it will come to fruition. I shouldn't actually wear it. And lo and behold, I got called yesterday on my way to the library, like, you know what, are you still available for it? I'm like, yeah, why not? So all those kind of stuff has built and made me believe that there's a God somewhere. And all the time I leave everything to you. You know what, God, I've done my bit. You just sort it out and you make it happen. So
Wow.
that's my journey
Are
into
you
it.
still a Catholic? Or
I'm still a staunch Catholic. Yeah. Although I worship with other church because we mean all the time, this is the thing. People end up making the Catholic Church look like it is separate from other Christian churches. But the Catholic is a denomination of the Christian religion.
I beg to differ. Now I have a friend,
Yeah.
okay, who's always attacking me, and he will post something from the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
And I'll say, I'm not Catholic. He said, no, you're a Christian. You're all Christians.
Yeah.
So I don't see the separation when they want to attack the church.
All the time. That's the thing. Because like when it comes to numbers, I'll be honest with you, the Catholic Church has got numbers compared to other Christian denominations. But all the time, because I'm Catholic, I went to Catholic schools, and it's been my foundation. I actually went to St. Ignatius College in North London. Everybody who knows, he knows that it's one of the best Catholic schools, boys' schools over there. So all the time, whenever I'm in their school, they teach us that being a Catholic means you're a Christian. And always I teach other Christians. So it has helped me to have that conversation often with other churches to make them understand that I'm not special compared to them. We are all Christians. At the end of the day, we are all have got Jesus Christ as our Lord and foundation. So let's focus on that than the denominations.
So just by listening to you and just a brief background of where you're coming from.
Yes.
I think one thing that stands out is the act of service.
Yes.
And of course, that has led to, I would assume it's led to you forming the I Aspire to Inspire. What does that actually entail? What does that mean?
So I Aspire to Inspire is myself and my co-founder, Sandra. She's actually from an engineering background and I'm from a pharmacy background. So both of us have actually served our community in Enfield. I didn't actually write in there. I'm actually an ex-chairman of the Enfield Youth Parliament. I served there for 2 years. And after we finished, and some of the answers that we needed to go into our field, because coming from the pharmacy background, I'm actually the first person from my family, and she was the first person from her family to actually go into engineering. And information, I'll be honestly serious with you. As much as we live in this country, we live in this community, you may think that information is easily accessed. There might be people who have been ahead of you, but getting even closer to them to find certain information is honestly challenging. The people that I got closer to, they didn't open up. I'll be honest with you. They didn't open up. They actually touched here and there. There were some conversations that were really hard on me that I wouldn't have even...
When you say information, I mean, what are you alluding to here?
I'm actually specifically towards the cause because I was the first family. I was the first member of my family to study that course, and even I was the first member of my family to actually have a British education to go to university. So I didn't have anyone like a big brother or a big sister to actually ask those kind of information. So the people that I got closer to, they didn't actually open up. They didn't even have time to actually end up having, because they have their own personal reasons, which I really appreciate. So it was quite of a struggle, but that struggle didn't stop me from actually pursuing that particular course. Henceforth, I actually ended up doing my research, asking everyone I get in touch with. I tend to actually source information from them. So even doing my interview, it was a lot of people from different backgrounds, different places who came together and actually supported me. Same to my co-founder. So when we finished, we thought that, you know what, one thing that we can do to support our community is to actually form this organization whereby we can actually end up doing that. And we formed in 2017, but due to uni kind of responsibilities, we had to take a break. So when we finished, we ended up taking on full board. We actually take full on board, and God being so good, 3 of our mentees last week, their results came for their A levels, and the 2 people I mentored for pharmacy, by God's grace, they've gone into pharmacy at their respective universities. And the one that my co-founder actually looked after, mentored, as also going to civil engineering, architectural engineering to study that. So that 3 young people is actually our foundation for everything that we have done, and it has really helped us, and it gives us the joy and the hope to actually help more young people. So we are still in the planning stage. We are still young. We are still in the baby stages to actually help our community. So that's what we have got to offer our community.
No, it's amazing, because it's true what you're saying, that you wanted to get into pharmacy, but to actually get somebody to sit down with you and talk to you, it's difficult.
Yeah.
And gosh, I know even in the field I found myself in, only a handful of people are willing to do that. And that's probably not, I'm not trying to cause any aspersions on anybody, but it's probably down to, just them also trying to figure a few things out.
Yeah.
So the fact that you and your co-founder have taken it upon yourself to help younger people in, respective fields, I think is fantastic. So now talk to me about the Diana Awards and how it all came about.
Yeah. So the Diana Awards is actually something, honestly, I didn't see myself actually getting it. Because, those ones whereby you go online, you see yourself into something, but you can't be bothered because you feel like the criteria is actually way too
wide.
Yeah, it's way too wide,
All
way
right,
too big for me.
Let me just, for the benefit of our listeners, what the Diana Award is. And obviously, is in memory of the late
Lady
Princess
Diana.
Diana. So the Diana Award, established in the memory of Diana, the Princess of Wales. The Diana Award is the most prestigious accolade a young person aged 9 to 25 years can receive for their social actions or humanitarian work. So that is what the Diana Award is.
Yep.
So talk us through the moment, you were nominated, the process, and actually finally winning.
So the process, honestly speaking, was actually done by my CEO of the company that I'm working with, the charity company, which is Reach Out to All. Big ups to Marian, if you're actually listening to this. So I've been working with her. She's actually seen this. She's been following the stuff I've been doing since my uni days when I actually got brought to limelight by the Black Excellence.
Yeah.
That's the name of the page of the Instagram. So she brought it and she's been following my journey ever since. And she had this Reach Out to All organization. So she reached out to me and she ended up asking, I know you're actually a busy person. You've got your own stuff going on here and there. Would you like to actually be one of my directors of my company? I was like, yeah, why not? Because during that time, I was still, I aspire. We have not started operating. Though we formed it, but we have not started operating.
Yeah.
So I thought about that, serving on the Reach Out to All could be one of the ways that I could help to figure out how I aspire to inspire to lead. Help me to even see what kind of service I aspire is, Reach Out to All is providing. Henceforth, we are not going to repeat ourselves in our aspire. We'll rather take a different dimensions.
Yeah.
Henceforth, it's actually going to be very purposeful in the community because we don't want to do something if someone else is doing. We don't want to repeat ourselves to make it look like we are trying to compete with another person. But however, we're trying to provide resources or provide services that are going to be very beneficial to the community at large. So when she reached out to me, I didn't even hesitate. I actually jumped on it. So the first session that we did was we did during the COVID, we did a Zoom conference. And I'll be honest with you, right now, when I go back to see my conference, I never knew that was that effective because the views is getting on. It's been my most viewed talk ever. So it was getting about 1,000. Right now, I think it's like 1,000, getting 1,500. I was like, wow. So I actually forwarded that to us. Like, you know what? I'm doing the Diana Awards is about this here and there. And all the time, this is my mentality when it comes to award. I tell people that so far as you have an impact on people is the biggest achievement, biggest award, because people come to tell you their personal stories. They come to tell you how much you've impacted them. And to me, that makes my day, because at the end of the day, I realize that the stuff I'm doing, I'm not doing it for doing sake. I'm not doing it to actually get a name. However, I'm having real impact whereby if today they end up actually asking me, so which people have you helped here and there, I can physically show the people. So when I sent it to my director, just like, Kwame, she didn't mean that. It's just like, Kwame, you fit. Just like, you perfectly fit. You are the person who needs to get this. I was like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, just tell me what you've done. Because she's been following me. I was like, you know what, whichever place that I've actually missed the gap, just let me know.
Yeah.
And I also speak to my mentor, Nana Churchill. I spoke to her about prior to that. And even prior to the award, I have seen 2 Ghanaians who have got this award. And big ups to them. I don't know if they're actually listening, but I'm just giving them a shout. It's her name is Inspiring Vanessa. That's the name on Instagram. And Khadija as well, Khadija Owusu.
The doctor.
Yeah, Dr. Khadija Owusu. Yes. She actually got a year or so.
Yeah.
So when I saw those 2, I said to myself, you know what? I can get that.
It can be done.
It can be done. Because I've seen people coming from my background, doing amazing stuff. It can be done. So doing that whole process, honestly speaking, because I was skeptical, because honestly speaking, if you have actually been in a position whereby applications are sent, we are pleased you send application. However, I've seen, I can actually open my emails and I can show you those kind of stuff really push me, you know. So honestly, I was like, you know what? Sometimes you just have to take a shot, because the worst comes to worst, they'll say no. They ain't gonna kill you.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So I ended up actually during the time it was about to be sent. I actually spoke to Khadija. I was like, you know what? You are actually done this. You have done amazing stuff. I know the stuff you've done, both in health and outside healthcare. So you know what? We're in the same field. Can you check this for me? She came back with feedback. I was like, Kwame, you deserve it. It's not down to the judges to decide. I'm like, whoa.
Wow.
Since you've done it, you know the process. You know what? I leave everything in the hands of God. So my CEO actually sent it. So one Monday morning, like it's been sent, my mind is elsewhere, because with me, once those kind of stuff are done, I'm moved on it. Like that's me. I was just there, like a Monday evening. Then my CEO actually contacted, because with me, I'm always in touch with her. She messaged me like around 9 p.m. She messaged me. So it's like, Kwame. I was like, what? I was like, guess what? I was like, no, I was like, check the picture. I've sent you something. That time it was on Instagram. So she messaged me on Instagram. I was like, check something on WhatsApp. It's like, wow, congratulations. You're actually been. I was like, wow. This is a dream come true. Honestly speaking, this is actually a dream come true, because for me to actually see something, get people around me to believe in me, say that you've done a lot for your community and you deserve it. I believe that is something that needs to be celebrated. And I have to keep my mouth shut for about, I think, 2 months. So I have to actually just, keep it, because protocol must be respected. I have to keep it. But the funny thing is, when it came, I quickly messaged Khadija. I was like, thank you very much, blah, blah. Then afterwards, I read, it's like, you can't tell anyone. I quickly deleted it. Guess what? She had already received the message. She's actually been, she had actually been alerted that she received a message. It was like, oh, you sent me something. I came and it's gone. What happened? I was like, honestly, I got it, but I didn't want to tell you. I wanted to wait. I was like, oh, congratulations. So looking at people within the community who are doing a lot and seeing yourself, people being willing to help you to actually attain higher, honestly, it's something that's amazing. And God being so good, I was actually among the 183 young people across the world, and I was the only Ghanaian on record this year. There were other Ghanaians, but they were actually representing the countries that they are actually currently there. But I was the only person who was waving the flag of Ghana high this year. And it's something that I really take it as a big responsibility. And I take it as one of my biggest accolades, because I've had a lot of accolades, and that's one of my biggest. All my accolades, I respect it, all the organizations here and there, because I moved from one step to the other. And that alone actually made me realize that, you know what, the work I'm doing, I need to continue, because right now it has reached the global phase. Because I believe right now, if you go and Google my name, one way or another, my name will pop up with the Diana Awards. And it's a really prestigious and in memory of the late Princess Diana. Funny story behind it. Growing up, I was one of those who were born. I was the late 90s, so I didn't. I missed to hear about it, but I came to hear her story. That's the power of documenting stories and hearing stories. So I remember my late sister. I was coming from school, and I saw a picture of Lady Diana. I was like, oh, who is this person? So, oh, she's Lady Diana. I was like, oh, where is she? And it's like, unfortunately, she passed. I was like, oh. So I didn't get to actually see. I came to hear a story, and I came to hear the work she does. And lo and behold, I realized that we are in line. So even the award that I was being given, it made me realize that, you know what, you are in line with the purpose of Lady Diana. So basically, you are continuing her legacy, though you are setting your own legacy, but you continue the legacy of someone who started it. Henceforth, it gives you something to look up to in moments of challenges, in moments of despair. You realize that someone led this legacy on this earth. So you have now got the baton to actually continue with her work. So that's what the Diana Awards is all about. And by the way, I actually got nominated for, I got recognized for my work in mental health advocacy and
that's what I was just about to come on to actually.
Yeah,
because this is an area that we don't really talk much about in the community. So if you can just maybe elaborate exactly what it is that you did.
Yeah. So I have, anyone who has been following me on my social media platform has actually realized that since 2017, that's 5 years. Or 5. So 5 years now I've been advocating on mental health. And to me, it was kind of a coincidental, but at the same time it was tapping into my purpose, because
the event I came to a few years ago, I think probably 2018, was it 2018?
I think 2018. Was it the one at
Best? I forgot the lady's name.
Yeah, I know the
but
one.
Was it mental health?
It was mental health.
Mental health.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
right. It was mental health. Yeah. So you came to find me there. So at least you got to see my interest. I actually started my advocacy in mental health, weird enough, because as I said, purpose was something I had always been trying to find myself in. And honestly speaking, just before I continue, if there's anyone out there who feels like they're actually struggling with their purpose, don't give up. Continue praying to God, continue being closer to God, and I can guarantee you one day you wake up and you realize that, you know, that eureka moment is here, and you definitely find what you are actually meant to do on this earth. Other than that, just continuing with whatever you are doing. You are doing the right thing. Just continuing. I know it can end up being very, very difficult, because you may see other people doing their stuff, happy in their stuff. Just continuing, and one day, trust me, you're going to find yours, because it took me 4 years to actually end up finding mine. So continuing, 2017, there was a module I was doing in my uni days, in year 2, which was to do with mental health. And during that time, I've got a placement in mental health. So I wanted to find myself more specifically, because initially when I had the idea of studying medicine, cardiology would have been the area I was turning towards, because I was like, we don't have a lot of cardiologists in our community. Like right now, if you go to Ghana right now, in terms of surgery, I think, if I'm right, there is only 2 or 3 of them who are still standing. Henceforth, all the big surgeries, heart surgeries, has to be taken outside the country. So I found myself like, you know what, I would do that. So with me, all the time, I want to actually find myself not repeating what someone has done. I want to actually find the area that has not been filled yet. Hence, the niche, exactly. I want to find my niche, and I'll be able to do it and do it well. Hence, for when people need that kind of help, I'll be the point of contact. Because if there's an influx of so many of that particular kind of stuff, I feel like, you know, I'm not needed. And all the time you see me, like, whenever they're doing stuff, like, oh, can you do this? Because we've got 2 minutes. I was like, yeah, why not? Because that might be the purpose that God has got for me. So when I went to that placement, honestly, it was picking up. I was trying to actually have interest of the different mental health conditions that people have. I've gone to the elderly. I've seen them here and there. So that evening, I'm a very big, if he's listening, and I will say this, that when I see him, I will thank him for that. I'm a very big lover of KSM shows. I think you know him.
Yeah.
I love KSM show because I find it very educative. So during that time, there is this lady who actually 2 years, I think it was 2015 or 2016, her story popped up about her actually applying for SLC, which SLC presidency is one of the biggest.
Let me just interject now, because for people listening to us on radio, unfortunately, this is where we're going to end the show, but the conversation continues on our Facebook page, okay, at GN Radio UK, because we just got like 30 seconds. I don't want it to just cut it, informing people what is happening. So if you're listening online on TuneIn elsewhere, we've come to the end of the show, but the conversation still continues on Facebook. Okay, so if it just cuts out, just know that the conversation is still carrying on. Okay. For time being here, a big thank you to all our listeners, and we shall see you next week. So head over across to Facebook or YouTube. Okay.
Thank you, Jones. So, listening to that show, the lady was actually vying for one of the biggest positions every single young person or university student would like to actually occupy on the university campus, and she was at UCC, which is University of Cape Coast in Ghana. So, certain stuff happened whereby there was some indecency that actually happened on campus, and she would have been the first female to occupy that position on that campus.
Okay.
But because of that kind of indecency at that time, we didn't know what was causing it because people thought that she was using it for publicity's sake. But she herself didn't even know why. So fast forward, she actually ended up going to one summer break. She experienced it again, whereby she was actually having headache. So when she had headache, she went to the hospital and they were having these diagnoses, and they realized that she's actually have bipolar disorder, which bipolar is one of the least talked about mental health conditions within our community, which is very common in our Ghanaian community. I must be honest, because looking at how she's describing it, she drew that attention that, you know what, there's so many people who are actually working thinking that they are one moment they are angry, the next moment they are happy.
Split personality.
It's a split personality because bipolar has got two phases. It's got the manic state and they've got the depressive state, which the manic state is your happy moments that you feel like you can even step on top of this building and jump down. That's your manic state. And your depressive state is you feel so low that you want to take your life. That's how bad it is. So when she explained that, it drew my attention, and I'm like, honestly, I got drawn into the conversation. I wanted to know more. I reached out to her. She educated me a lot because there was one condition which is very, very close to bipolar, which is schizophrenia. So I got to where she educated me. She was showing me and everything. So I was doing my own research. Then I came to the point that, you know what, I can differentiate between this. So that kind of curiosity that was actually having in me, and my own personal experience with a short-term depression actually mounted up and made me realize that there is a niche for me to educate people. Henceforth, my purpose in educating and even fighting for other people as well, because I believe that there is not a lot of people who have been educated about or educating people about. Hence, in 2017, I hardly saw people actually in our community posting stuff about mental health. So I started it. I consistently, because when I started, I was not looking at whether it's going to be a trend or not. I didn't look at the trend. I was like, I want to save more people. I want to save lives. And this is the career pathway I'm going into. And lo and behold, I found myself over here, and even by God's grace, getting into the career from next year onwards. Yeah.
Fantastic. And how did you deal with it then, your depression?
With me, as I said, it was a short term. It was a bereavement, and I didn't even know that was a depression. First of all, because there was not much of people who were opening up and educating about it. So my curiosity again stepped in. Something was popping in my head. I think you're having depression. So it took me 3 days because I had headache, and with me, my sought after when it's headache is paracetamol. I've taken paracetamol, and it's not helping.
Sure.
So I went online and I googled it, and that time I was feeling not just headache. I was feeling low. My education didn't matter to me. My education is one of my highest priority. If you know me, it was not something that I really cared about. I did the exam. I didn't really care whether I was going to pass. So all these were actually boiling down that, you know what, this is true. This is what you're experiencing. But I didn't speak about it because speaking about it in an African home would have been very hard.
Yeah.
So it took me 3 years. Then I went to my mom. I was like, because someone close to me actually experienced that. So it was at that point in time that I opened up for the first time to anyone that this is what I faced, because I realized that the person who have experienced it needs to hear that you are not going through alone. I've got experience.
What made you decide to open up?
When the person closer to me ended up actually experiencing that, I was like, I feel that intensified my advocacy. Because at that point in time, everybody around that person was giving their own opinion. Like I knew, because I've studied it.
Sure.
2, I've actually experienced it. 3, I've actually got an uncle who is actually a mental health nurse. So he himself it took one night, he educated me through a lot of stuff, like when someone is hallucinating, the symptoms, everything. So I took everything on board. So I have to educate myself to be able to help the person, because I'm a pharmacy student at that time.
Yeah.
I want to be a pharmacist. I want to
Sure.
be mental health. Henceforth, this would be one of the things that could even evoke me to end up doing more to support people. So that is actually my track record. And lo and behold, it helped me because the person going to help me to actually learn more, because there's difference between learning it in the class by theoretically learning it and someone closer to you experiencing it, having a first-hand look at what the process of everything that the person is going through. So it really actually helped me, and it really helped me because lots of people are like, I can't do it. If it were me, I wouldn't. I was like, I had to, because you don't want that to actually end up, because it reached the point, it was really hard. It reached the point I was like, you know what, I feel like giving up, but I was like, you know what, keep pushing. And lo and behold, it helped me to find my purpose. That really helped me to intensify my education, and I'm still an advocate of it, and I'm planning of actually doing more and collaborating more with other people, which I'm in talks with other people across different countries who are Ghanaians, who are really experts in the field, and I want to learn more and carry on with the education side of it and still educate people back at home and even over here as well.
And any plans, going back home to start something, or
it is.
Or should I ask you? Should I put it to you bluntly? Do you see yourself going back home to take your experiences back home and to set up something, or
100%? I will not even let you land.
Or you're just gonna be here.
Nah, once Ghanaian, always Ghanaian. My heart, honestly speaking, I didn't actually get to say my part, but I'll talk more because I've got a project coming up, which is actually going to actually express or expose more about my intentions and my intents as being a Ghanaian and what it makes me feel as a Ghanaian. So Ghana has always been the plan, and it's always going to be in the plan. As much as I might be living over here, I still want to actually work home and actually help and support, because that, I believe that that area or the country needs my service a lot, because we don't see a lot of people going into that kind of field, and I believe there's so many people in the field over there who needs even the support, the zeal, like what is actually the work on the ground, because I believe they alone will not be able to actually do it. We, the ones who have got opportunity to learn more, collaborate with them, back at home, to be able to support them, because it's something at home that people tend to give up on a lot. And one thing I'll say is, whoever is listening and going through that, you are not alone. And if you are actually looking after someone who's going through that as well, you're not alone. But seek for help when you need, because your mental health also matters, because it becomes so draining because it's someone close to you. You don't want the person to give up. You don't want to give up on the person. Henceforth, you end up dedicating yourself so much that you forget about yourself as a person as well. So there's a balance that needs to be done between it. So that is actually somewhere that I ended up actually finding myself. And I will say that God is still using me, and I'm looking forward to actually continue with the work and also the youth development side of stuff as well.
All right. Kwame Osei-Osu.
Yes.
Thank you very much for coming on the show today. And as always, just let us know when you start your new I don't know what I should say, plan, or you embark on a new journey, a new project. Do let us know. More than happy to have you come on here to share your experiences with us, and also, most importantly, to let people know that there are people in the community such as yourself, doing well in the community.
Yeah.
So once again, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much. And if there's anyone listening whose son or daughter is about to start GCSE or is actually about to embark on their A-level journey and they need help in the field of pharmacy, engineering, even medicine, any of those kind of stuff, they should feel free to contact me on my Instagram page.
Yes, how can people reach you?
Yeah, so people can reach me. I'm very active on my Instagram page. Sad to my Facebook people. Though I've got Facebook or Twitter, but I tend not to actually. I'm trying my best to actually end up to branch myself to those social media platforms. But Instagram is the best place to reach me at BIGQUAMMY. BIGQUAMMY. When you actually contact me there in my DM, I'll be able to actually contact point you towards our page on Instagram as well. Is I Aspire to Inspire. We finished with our three cohorts, and we're looking forward to actually starting with new young people to help with embark their journey in their career and path. We are not only helping people with their A-level or B-Tech, we're also helping with apprenticeship and everything. Any advice that you need, we are more than willing to actually support you from there.
And the I Aspire to Inspire is the letter I.
I.
And then the 2 is the number 2.
2, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Jones, for having me at your radio station.
Pleasure.
And thank you.
Okay, we've come to the end of our conversation. Make sure you look after yourself, whatever it is that you find yourself doing. Look after yourself, stay safe, and all being well, we'll see you again next week.